to all you mothers out there. If you have a mother, say Happy Mother's Day to her. Anyway, it's Mother's Day, right?
It is. It is. And
like
although
it wasn't a big deal this year, I don't know. Maybe it's just me though, because we've been taking care of my mom all week. So anyway,
well, yeah, there's that element. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a mother, right? But
No.
because I married a single mother, that makes me a mother effer.
Did the internet?
But jing, we're not even 2 minutes into the stream. At least I censored myself. I know. I can't help you with the technical side. That's on your side of the computer, my friend. Okay, but let's keep this going. Let me say hi to. Well, I heard Curtis Selby. I did catch your stream, but I caught it, on VOD. So you were already over to Deleted Scenes show by the time I saw it. So great show, great update, and thanks for being here. Actually, it's kind of a Curtis Selby raid from what I'm seeing here, because then I see FKHC 2005 saying hail.
Oh.
And of course, Netters Network. I love you too, sweetie. David Pensek. Bring those geeky geezers and let the fun begin.
Let the fun begin. Anyway,
yeah, it's going to be interesting at least.
I'm your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
I was just greeting the chat because you were, having technical difficulties beyond your control. So I was just trying to fill the void, This
is probably a bad time for me to be downloading a bunch of PlayStation 4 games, right? I had to get a new hard drive because my old hard drive ran out of room. So I'm like, okay, get a new one. 4 terabytes this time round. So hopefully that's enough to last me.
Yeah.
It's like the PlayStation 4. It's like I'm not dead yet. So there's always something to buy for it. It's like I haven't gotten a PS5 because, frankly, I'm not a big Sony fan. But I might have gotten it over Cellar Blade, and then I heard they censored it after the fact. So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't buy your console anyway, so it's not my problem.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Anyway.
And I am not inclined to do so now, so screw you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things where, like, do we want to punish the developer? This is probably a Sony decision. I'm thinking, well, no. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, it doesn't matter with me because I don't want a PS5. They're big, expensive. Exactly. Frankly, I think it's an ugly-looking console. The refresh might look better, but what do I know? Anyway, I'm rambling. Welcome, everybody. But I had to get a new hard drive for my PS4.
There you go.
So, and it doesn't allow me to transfer between 2 hard drives on the PS4, which would have been better, but Sony doesn't allow you to do that. You do that on the Xbox. You can't do that on the PlayStation. So now they're all downloading again from the internet. So I'm doing them. I have a bunch. I'm doing a few a day. That's what I'm doing. Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody. I'm rambling.
It's your show. You can ramble.
Listen to me. These are the games that are going to have to last me after the big gaming crash. All right.
Well, that's true. We're gonna be talking about the big game. Yeah, the gaming industry has got some issues. We need to do something about that.
And
my friends.
This is a series you would have been interested in. I got these on the cheap on the PlayStation Store. I got the Mafia trilogy.
Interesting.
Mafia 2, and Mafia 3.
Cool.
They're like period Mafia games, like 1920s and whatnot.
Oh, nice. Good.
At least the first one was. The first couple were, I think. All right. Good evening, Curtis Selby. Welcome. FKH 2005. Hail. Welcome.
Yep.
Welcome, Netters Network. Always welcome, Netters.
Yeah.
Let me see. Bring on those geeky geezers. Thank you.
Matanui. Always good to see you, my friend.
Big Al presents.
Yeah, Big Al.
Happy Mother's Day to the moms. Rest in peace, Roger Corman. Yes, we got that news rather late, and we had so many news stories tonight. I basically told Troy here, we'll save them for next week.
Right.
We'll do a full-on good old days for Roger Corman, and we'll do an in remembrance then.
That makes a lot of sense.
He needs attention, not just a quickie, so we're going to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, though. It's one of these instances where I was like, he was still alive?
Yeah, I said the same thing last night. Yeah, I was like, well, and this is, in fairness, this is what happens, right? These celebrities tend to, eventually they tend to retire, right? Whether they outwardly say it or not. They kind of, they stop making movies or whatever it is, and they fall out of the public eye, and out of sight, out of mind. You're like, oh, he was what, in his 90s?
I think so.
And it's like, I thought he'd passed already, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that is sad, but yeah, it's I oftentimes feel like it's sadder when you hear about like Ray Liotta or whatever. First, someone who's still relatively young, and two, was in the middle of working on a movie at the time. He
was 98.
Right, Corman? Yeah, that's a long life. So God bless him for that.
I'm trying to think. Was he a producer on Black Scorpion? Did I roll it out there?
I don't even know what Black Scorpion is.
I think it was like his take on Batman.
Okay, cool.
Except Batman was a super sexy superhero played by Joan Severance in those movies. So
okay, I'm good with that.
Scorpion. I'm all right with that. Anyway, how do you?
I remember Joan Severance from a certain men's periodical.
Yeah, I remember her from that periodical too.
Did you say hi to Connie Cleary?
I think a beach was involved. Anyway, welcome Connie Cleary. Yes, welcome.
Yes, a beach was a very good memory there. You have a pornographic memory.
Probably. You're. Anyway, what'd she say? Did I hear whispering?
Yeah, well, she's just going through the chat and pointing out people that we might have missed.
Rosefire, welcome. Rosefire always leaves a comment.
We're just way behind on saying hi.
And it's always nice. Always leave comments if you can, and I'll try to respond. She did. I need to respond. She left a comment about books. I don't know if it was on the one we did last Sunday. The Daniel Cohen books. The excellent, all the cryptids, good stuff. We're gonna have a different good old days tonight. This is one more. Last week was more of my expertise. This will be more Troy's expertise.
Yeah,
so I do know of it because I used to watch that show. I love the 70s.
Yeah,
they did. I love the 80s. I love the 90s. They did an I love the 70s, and that was a great little. And they did a thing on the thing you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Let's just say there were certain picks I couldn't show.
Yes, I will comment. I've got at least 2 points to make about those.
Seymour's swimsuit.
Yeah.
I can't show that. I might get into trouble on YouTube. Okay.
Well, all the ladies' swimsuits. Yes. It was Farrah Fawcett. It was all of them. Yeah.
They showed scandalous stuff on network TV in the 70s.
Yeah, because it was just, you know what? It just is what it is. It's
everybody was an adult back then.
Exactly.
And now everybody's batshit. But anyway, not everybody.
Exactly.
Not y'all in my chat here. Okay, this is where we come for our sanity, right? We all come.
Well, that's true.
Forgot to say Happy Mother's Day, my shoe. I didn't call mine. Well, you know what? Do a belated on your the
other side of midnight.
Other side of midnight. I keep want to say 5 after midnight.
Right.
Chris P, welcome. I was hoping you'd be here. Go ahead and drop your if you feel comfortable, of course, but drop your Twitter name. I'll hunt for it after the stream.
Yep.
Okay, I've been meaning to do that. Curtis Selby, my hard drive crashed. Yeah, that always sucks.
Yep.
They're unreliable, aren't they? I got a special 4 terabyte PlayStation 4 hard drive by Seagate. And then my 2 terabyte PlayStation 4 drive that I was using, I'm going to use on my other Xbox. So I'm going to have a PlayStation hard drive for the Xbox. How's that? How's that work for you?
I'm not a console guy, so I don't know.
Okay. That's funny about it. I don't care. Been watching Spy X Family. I would mean to watch Spy X Family. Can you kick through you can you kick you through a brick wall? Can't cook a thing, but a loving, caring part of the family. Okay, well, I'll look for it. Oh, I see. The Yorforger is the new favorite anime mom. Rosefire 2. I also recommend, if you ever get around to it, Lupin the Third Part 4 and Lupin the Third Part 5. Watch Part 4 first. They're the newer Lupin anime series that came out recently. You might get a kick out of them. It's one reason the Blue Jacket. They're very good. But here we are. Welcome, Zootopia. Welcome, Netter of Netter's Network. I think I already said that. Oh, no. I'm sorry, Netter. But, I'm sure she's still with you. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I talked to my mom twice today, for what that's worth.
Yeah. All right.
I'm guessing you don't have your live chat on because let's say hi to Sashi and to Matt Cheatwood and JPRPH1.
I'm just
David
looking at StreamYard.
Well, yeah, I know. There's a lot of people here in the chat, and we are incredibly encouraged by that fact. Lady Mist, welcome, welcome.
Don't you have anything better to do? I say that. Doomcock's
Horizon Talker, welcome, welcome.
Goes over to him.
Hi there, Horizon Talker. D.D. Meyer Jr., welcome, welcome.
Let me open up my YouTube channel. I should probably do that on my own stream. Maybe I should like my own stream, huh? Might make sense.
Damn it, autocorrect. It's never a duck.
Open Third Part 4. Is that the one called The Italian Adventure? Yes, and I think it even streams some places too. Excellent. Even the dub is good, though I watched it in Japanese myself. But.
By the way, speaking of Italian, and a channel that I have mentioned many, many times, I caught a stream that the Metatron was doing live, and it was really cool to hear him, say my name with that Italian accent of his. He goes, "I don't know if you're, American or Italian, but I'm going to pronounce it Italian." I said, "That's perfect."
That's funny. That's funny. Oh, I should probably put my presentation up for tonight, shouldn't I? I should probably be doing a lot of things. It's been a crazy week for me. Let me just say that. Yeah. Mom's doing okay, though, so, that's good. In fact, much better than I expected, actually, so that's good. Geeky Geezers, not the notes. Not the keynote either. Where's the PDF? Is that the PDF? Yes. Okay.
And welcome, Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank. I hope you're feeling good.
Matt Sheetwood, welcome. All right.
All right. I think I hit everybody. I just hit you. I just clobbered you. Each and every one of you. Boom, boom, boom.
Just hit me. While I'm waiting for this to upload, it's called The Italian Adventure. They set Lupin the Third Part 4 in Italy because the old Lupin the Third cartoon show was actually extremely popular in Italy. The anime from Japan, they were big fans of him in Italy. So I think, as an honor of that, they decided to set the fourth series in Italy, in actual Italy. So it was kind of neat. And the first half of the series is Lupin the Third versus MI6. In fact, his antagonist, I would say, while not being James Bond, I think he's like a 00 agent, basically. That's who he's up against in the first half of the series. I won't spoil who it is in the second half for those who are going to watch it, though. There we go. Look at this artwork, huh? Beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
Well, some of it.
I worked on it. Anyway. I mean, I liked it. I mean, I put some effort into it.
We have some Kotaku things to talk about.
I actually spent way more time on Tinkerbell than I needed to.
Let me tell you something. These young women playing Tinkerbell in these Disney parks, wow, these are some pretty young women. And
well, and see, and therein lies the problem. We'll be getting into that tonight, but I think they gotta, instead of getting rid of Tinkerbell, I think they should just recast Tinkerbell as a plus size woman of color and call her Taco Bell. Just saying. Just trying not to laugh out loud.
She didn't say Latina, which okay.
I just said, I any person of color, I suppose.
That's true, because anyone can be. Yeah, these are these nonsensical terms that they come up with.
Exactly.
Anyway, here we go. Let's move on, though. There's Gina Carano, and here we go. Kevin Spacey.
Yep.
Hi-Fi Rush, which I'll never be able to play unless they bring it out for the Switch, which they're probably not going to do now because, well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something positive, huh? Let's talk about the good.
So not days. Kotaku.
They've been a plague for about a decade now.
Yeah. Well, they're coming to an end. We'll get into that.
Well, I hope so, and we're going to get into that. Here we go. Look at this. What is this? What are we seeing here? We are seeing the battle of the network stars.
Yes, we absolutely are. Ran from 1976 to 88. I didn't know it went that late.
Holy cow! I didn't know this was on during the 80s.
Yeah. I
saw something about Michael J. Fox. I'm like, oh, he wasn't. He must
have
been on it.
Keep in mind that this was not like a series, right? It was a total of 19 competitions. It was a special event. Yeah,
like
you
an
consider
Olympic
it like
sort of thing.
Like exactly. And what was really interesting about this, and this is a little bit sad, really, because I think these days are done. We'll never see anything like this again. It was, when they say Battle of the Network Stars, they literally meant it. You had ABC, CBS, and NBC, their stars competing in these sporting events, and really doing so, and getting along well enough to be able to. And it was aired on ABC. I don't know how. There was some deal behind the scenes between these three studios where they were like, okay, ABC, you can play it, and I'm sure there must have been something like, and we'll split the revenues or something. I don't know. I don't know. But again, see, and I could make the same discussion of. This is kind of like we used to get the DC versus Marvel.
Yeah.
And it would be under both of their imprints. And we can't do that anymore. But let's take a close look at who we got there. I see Willie Ames there next to who's that comedian from City Slickers?
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal there. Yep. I see Howard Cosell there in a tan leisure suit. Next to the dude from Airplane.
I know the actor you're talking about.
Yeah.
Look at all these. Valerie Bertinelli's there.
Valerie Bertinelli. There's Marsha Brady, the third from the right there. Penny Marshall. Oh, there's Christy McNichol. Oh, I had such a crush on Christy McNichol.
What's cool about this is
Melissa Gilbert. I had a crush on her too.
She before Tara Strong took over the voice of Batgirl, it was Melissa Gilbert was on the original Batman the Animated Series. That's who was Batgirl.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. The little redhead girl, right? Yeah.
But look at this. I want to say, imagine if this would carry on, you could have Fox come in there. What color would Fox have been? Yellow? Maybe they would have had them be yellow, or they could have had them be orange, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
Or just black. I don't know.
But yeah, this was
black for Fox.
This was a time that, let's face it, there was really only 3 networks. There wasn't a Fox network back then. Yeah.
Oh man, look at this though. But we got pictures. So the whole idea is that this is Howard Cosell, and they would compete in events, right?
Yes, exactly. And there we have Chrissy from Three's Company. What's her name?
Susan Sarandon? Not Susan.
Suzanne Summers.
Susan Summers.
Yeah. I had a picture of her in my locker in high school.
I know which one you're talking about.
Someone on the right here who I guess doesn't exist anymore, but still has long hair.
Okay. All right. Look at this. Linda Carter.
Wow. Yep. Wonder Woman herself.
How on earth that?
I know, right?
That's a superhero there. She's a real life superhero.
Exactly.
And
Gabe Kaplan
from
Welcome Back, Kotter. Yeah. Oh, he was just genius. People don't realize that his that whole Welcome Back, Kotter was based on his history and people he knew. In school and whatnot. It was really interesting, and he had this whole stand-up routine that kind of evolved into that show. You wouldn't know who John Travolta was today if it weren't for that show.
Mm-hmm. That was a good sitcom back in the day. I remember that, the Sweat Hogs.
It was genius, and the best was I felt, in my opinion, the interplay between him and his wife. They always kind of bookended the show where they would start out with a routine. Not always, but usually they start out with a routine and end with a routine. It was usually like it was just the comedian and the straight person, the wife being the straight person. It was funny stuff, and sometimes it was bad, and she would just shake her head at him. And sometimes she would find him funny. It was really good. Up your nose with a rubber hose. That's right, David.
Oh, I love that expression.
Twice as far with a Hershey bar.
We joke, but I think people said those things in the 70s.
Yes, we did. Oh, Willie Ames. Yeah.
Look at that.
8 is Enough was the show he was on.
Yeah. I remember 8 is Enough. That was a great show.
Yeah, look at them. There and the girl on the right there, she's clearly sweating. These people were really this wasn't an exhibition thing. They were having fun. They were getting paid.
They took this seriously.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of them some are fitter than others. I don't think anybody's on here is in bad shape.
I don't remember there, and again, remember these were network against the network. I don't remember there being any bad blood or anything like that. If you saw anyone getting upset, it was always them getting upset at themselves because they didn't feel like they performed to their best, or they thought they could have done better, or whatever the case is.
The only thing I could think of is that maybe Dancing with the Stars was sort of a more recent equivalent to this, except it was like dance-offs, right?
Well, this is something I didn't know until I was just looking this up in preparation for tonight. Apparently in 2003, NBC attempted to revive the Battle of the Network Stars with a 2-hour special. It didn't go anywhere, really. Tried again. Bravo tried in 2005.
I could see Matthew Fox from Lost being on there versus the host of Survivor.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Funny.
ESPN, actually, that one makes sense. Tried in 2005. That would have actually been a great network for it to be on. Put it on ESPN. You can get stars from whatever channels.
Cable.
Right?
You can get HBO.
Yeah.
Like James Gandolfini, maybe not, but he could have been on it too.
But there've been a lot of attempts to, but I just don't see. It was lightning in a bottle. I really don't believe that after like the late 80s, I don't see it being even reasonably possible anymore. But what it is it was a kind of early reality TV. But there's nothing scripted about this. It's not like today where, it's all, and I hate to...
It's how it's scripted is they script it in the editing room.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But there was no duplicity about it. It might have been a little bit more exciting because of the editing, but the outcomes of the sports, of each individual sports, was spot on. If you do this now, it would be endless speeches about world politics and climate change. There's that element to it. The other thing too is, even look at what's the one with Simon Cowell? Everybody's Got Talent. I hate to tell people this. That show's pretty scripted too. They've already decided who's going to be winning and who's not before the show goes on. I hate to tell you that, but that's the case. This was not the case here. Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas.
Look at that. ABC.
The Heathers.
Heather Locklear was on T.J. Hooker, I believe, right at the time.
Yes, she was.
Show. Yes.
Or wait a minute. Was it Heather Locklear or Heather Thomas? Heather Thomas was on. Heather Thomas was on T.J. Hooker. Heather Locklear was on one of the nighttime soaps.
Was it Dynasty?
No, I'm not sure it was. I don't remember now.
I wasn't watching. Well, I might have been watching TV, but it would have been Sesame Street.
Yes, David, the Heathers. Yes, exactly. I had a poster of Heather Thomas on the back of my bedroom door. It's the one where she's getting out of the shower with the towel on. O.J. Simpson. Yeah, well, he was an athlete, clearly. This one is kind of obvious.
Yes.
This was because he was in Police Squad? Police Squad.
Was he in Police Squad, the show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, actually, because he was in the movies as well.
Oh, yeah, he was. Absolutely he was. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, David's correct, and I knew someone would. Heather Locklear was on T.J. Hooker and then Dynasty. Oh, and Melrose Place. I never watched Melrose Place. I didn't know anything about that.
It was by Aaron.
Oh, I'm sorry. Heather Thomas was on The Fall Guy. That's what it was.
Oh, that's the movie that came out recently.
And she had a cameo in it as well.
Interesting. Here we go. So the actress on the right, she was on Battlestar Galactica, right?
Yes, she was. I'm forgetting her name.
That's what's her name from Three's Company in the middle. Who's
on the Joyce
left?
DeWitt.
DeWitt, yes.
And I don't recognize the girl on the left.
Well,
I don't know why.
Come to us later.
Don't know why.
But
I don't know what sports each one of these individuals played, but I know a little bit about the actors behind the scenes. So, like Joyce DeWitt was a dancer in it before she became an actress. So I wouldn't have been surprised if they had her doing some sort of gymnastics or something like that.
There's Shatner.
Right. T.J. Hooker. See? Yep, there you go. Wonder if that's a toupee.
You know what? I don't know.
I don't know when the toupee started.
At this point, I just think it's real. Okay,
it might be. I don't know.
He's had one for this long. It's probably real. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe
it's grafted itself to his skull. There's Lou Ferrigno right in the middle.
I think it just magically became hair at some point. If it was
exactly.
I think the 2 pages gave up. Okay, I'll be here.
Oh, David might be right. She did look like Debbie Boone. I didn't think about that. Lou Ferrigno in green. That's perfect.
Holy cow! Who was the actor from Welcome Back, Kotter we saw earlier?
Gabe Kaplan.
I want Gabe Kaplan versus Lou Ferrigno in a cage match.
Yeah. No. This was. Yeah. It looks like this was a football match. The bloke on the right was from MASH, WKRP in Cincinnati. Different Strokes. I don't know the guy on the left.
Is that Gary Coleman?
No. It's the other one. It's his buddy. His buddy.
I know his buddy.
Yeah.
The one who's something.
The one that had a very special episode because
I know
the
that
guy,
episode.
Yeah.
They showed it in repeats. It made me uncomfortable.
Tim Reed, WKRP, thank you, and McLean Stevenson, and from MASH. Yeah. Was
it Douglas or was it? It was something like that. Anyway, I don't know. There's Riley Bertinelli on the bottom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice looking lady. A lot of nice looking ladies.
Yep.
But wait, I went too far.
You got a little bit ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
But here we go. But anything left to say though? Was this worth checking out though?
It was fun, and you know what? It was. It wasn't a big investment of time. I do remember that the first one was in '76, and I was watching it when my mom went to the hospital to have my brother. Goodness. Yeah, so this is what I was watching, and that's how it kind of started for me.
I need to look at clips of this and see Linda Carter in action. Was she kicking ass and taking?
Oh, she absolutely was. She absolutely was. I remember her in the tug of war. She had a couple of gymnastics routines. Very, very, very talented, and I mean that, in the truest sense, not making any kind of a joke there.
But thanks for asking about our stars.
That's what this is all about. This is what is all about.
I'm sure if they went to the 80s, David Hasselhoff would have had to have been on one of these.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like an obvious thing. Just... all right. But, I mean, I miss...
There is a full episode... Oh, the first episode is... from November 13th, 1976, is on YouTube. It was an hour and 40 minutes.
Wow. Okay, I'll look for it.
The one from '82 is on there, so a number of them are on there. You can check them. This is just I can see why. Yeah, there were some scenes that you probably could not have shown.
You know, the thing about this is, though, I'll say something about TV back then. When you were watching this show, you knew everyone else in the country was watching it, too. And there was sort of a
Pesto was in the one from '88, from Moonlighting.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was still being hosted by Howard Cosell in '88. There you go.
I'm imagining Ed O'Neill from Married with Children if they had gone to Fox at some point.
It never branched out there, but yeah, that would have been that. Actually, I could have seen that because I think didn't he play football in high school?
I'm sure he did.
He was pretty. Yeah, I mean because oftentimes when you see they show pictures, it's their real high school pictures and they're using them as their character and whatnot. Yeah.
I don't know. This kind of makes me sad though. What we've lost, huh? Everyone in the United States watching this at the same time.
Yeah, there's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason that people rail against reality television, and then people will try to point out, well, you had reality TV in your day. You had variety shows and you had Battle of the Network Stars and whatnot. I'm like, yes, but that was very, very different. It filled the same niche for the networks, right? Because it was non-scripted. They didn't have to pay writers, and whatnot. But it was more real. It was more reality,
Mm-hmm.
And I take that back about the variety shows. They did need scripting for that because they had skits and whatnot that still required writing.
But there was still, I'm sure, ad-libbing and
Oh, I'm sure there was a lot of ad-libbing.
I don't know.
I get the impression of some of our favorite sitcoms. I'll bet you there was some improvisation too. I just watched a clip from the Golden Girls, the pilot episode. I don't know if you know this. You can look it up yourselves on YouTube. But the girls are sitting down in the kitchen. They apparently they've been. I've forgotten everything but this one scene. So when I saw this scene, I didn't really remember what the setup was. But they'd been arguing and they were talking about this isn't going to work. We're going to have to go our separate ways. And Betty White's character says, "Yeah, this is just like that time in St. Olaf's, the herring wars." And both women look at her and go, "The what? Oh yeah, the herring wars between the so-and-sos and the so-and-sos." And B. Arthur's like, "Oh, that herring wars." And of course she goes off on her goofy story. And I swear to you, Rue McClanahan and B. Arthur are doing the Harvey Korman, Tim Conway laugh, trying not to explode. And I honestly, and there's, what is it? She said something about, the argument was one wanted to make pickled herring and the other family wanted to do a herring circus. Really? Wouldn't it be hard to see those herrings on top of the elephants? She goes, "No, not that kind of a circus. Much smaller, but bigger than a flea circus." And Rue McClanahan's got her head down. You can see her shoulders going up and down.
It's just that bad.
And V. Arthur's pushing her. She goes, "So did they ever shoot a herring out of a cannon?" And everyone because remember, this was live before a studio audience, right? Bursts into laughter. So Betty White has to hold off on her next line. And when everyone calms down, she goes, "Only the once." And then everyone went. And
that's funny.
It's just, she had just lost it at that point. She said, and after the poor herring hit the tree, they were never going to do that again.
Oh no!
And I swear to you, I can't believe that was scripted because their reaction was just so genuine.
Funny. That's funny.
Oh. And I think that's why they filmed it before a live studio audience, because you could catch that reaction from the audience. Well, you didn't need the audience for that one because you had the other two women, but Maron. I'm sorry, I just took us off on a whole kind of separate little good old days there.
VH1 asks, anyone remember the SNL commercial spook Battle of the Network TNAs?
Oh, I don't specifically, but it makes absolute sense because that's what people were thinking about when they were watching that.
They did a Battle of the PBS Stars on SCTV. Oh, crap. Am I still here?
I'm sorry, I had to mute for a second.
Oh, okay. No, they did Battle of the PBS Stars on SCTV, and it was Mr. Rogers versus, I don't remember, was it Bob Vila or somebody like that?
Oh, could be, yeah, absolutely.
A wrestling ring, it's funny. All right, time to go to our first story of the night.
Oh, let me grab that one.
Post it.
Yes, I will.
Now.
I'm working at it. Well, remember, there's a little delay when it goes into YouTube, so.
Batman Cape Crusader. We're actually starting with some DC news tonight, which is, we haven't done that in a long time.
That's true. I'm not sure whether you'd consider this good news or not. I've heard some
This is
reactions.
There are things I like and things I don't like. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Batman Cape Crusader first look reveals Asian American Harley Quinn and really weird Dark Knight. Okay.
Yeah.
For starters, the person who wrote this article, I have some beef with I don't know who wrote it either. There's no author attached to it. This is entertainmentweekly.com, though. This is why I didn't use any of the clips from the show. I didn't know if they were copyrighted. But that's how he looks on the show, how he looked in those early Batman comics.
Yes.
Batman the Animated Series creator Bruce Timm is back with a new cartoon about Gotham City's superhero. Get the first details here. Batman has been around for more than 80 years now, and in that time, Bob Kane and Bill Finger's Dark Vigilante has been the subject of countless comic books, cartoons, and movies. Given the variety of interpretation, it's hard to see any of them as definitive. But Batman the Animated Series comes close. What do you mean comes close?
Yeah.
Okay, the 1992-1995 TV show spawned a whole universe of DC superhero cartoons, introducing the world to Harley Quinn and remains beloved by fans. So no one is better equipped to create a new Batman cartoon than Batman the Animated Series co-creator Bruce Timm, but he wanted to do things very differently this time. Now, Bruce Timm did a lot of great work on those old Batman shows. In fact, he had to pretty much helm. I mean, he was the only one on Justice League, but at that point, Paul Dini had left, so he was kind of stuck doing Justice League on his own. But he did a good job.
And I do have to say that...
But he also gave us the Dark Knight Returns movie, which was not so good. So.
Yeah, there's that. But I'll tell you what, those... I will still defend those Christopher Nolans insofar as they were still better than the Joel Schumacher Batmans. Just saying.
Yes.
And better than Sparkly Bats. So, there's that too.
Well, I've not seen that movie. I'm not planning to watch it anytime soon.
No, exactly. It's not worth it. But
at first I thought this series was going to be not so much a interpretation of those new Batman movies we just got, but maybe how we had the original Batman series, animated series, came out right after the Burton Batman movies. Right. So there was some of that influence on the series, even though this is a separate Batman, separate universe. You could tell there was some influence.
It was very clear. I mean, they even had jokes that there was that one from a very early episode, may have been the first episode, where Alfred is scolding Bruce for not eating before he goes. He goes, I've got to go to work. But just keep my dinner ready for me, and this time cook the soup. And it's like clearly a reference to the Vichyssoise, and it's like, okay,
I remember one where he said, I think he said something like, your goose is cooked or something. He said something like not to be dry. Alfred, the actor they had playing Alfred on that show was great. They got an English actor doing the voice.
Yes.
He was very good. I think you have to, actually, with Alfred. You need an English actor. But Batman Cape Crusader was first announced as an HBO Max series in 2021 and then was saved by Amazon Prime Video after Max eventually passed on the project. This is what I thought was interesting. The Amazon got. I was like, how on earth did Amazon get this? And I realized Abrams probably had the right to shop this around after HBO Max passed on it.
Good point. And
Amazon picked it up. So now you have. This is why I think that HBO Max is kind of. I don't want to say Max lost the streaming wars. I think Max just became, okay, this is just HBO. You just can stream it instead of watching it on your cable. I think that's all it is now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a serious contender. I don't think it has to be profitable.
No, because there's nothing wrong with the cable model. No, I shouldn't say that, because that gives the wrong impression. There's nothing wrong with the channel, the cable channel. You can just take it from cable and bring it over to...
People did that early on before Max came out. There was HBO Go and HBO Plus and all these different HBOs.
Exactly. Well, but as I recall, though, I said this is the stupidest thing in the world. Put it all together in one bundle. What the hell? They were competing against themselves, for F's sake. Like, you don't have enough competition.
The only thing I think was maybe one was offered to people who had the subscription and other people had to pay for it, but then you had Max coming out. And then you had a separate DC network, streaming service, which didn't do anything. And it was eventually folded in.
Real quick, FKHC 2005 was talking about the Laugh Olympics. I have those on DVD. Oh. They were the Hanna-Barbera kind of answer to the Battle of the Network Stars.
Neat.
Yeah.
I've always meant to also watch Wacky Races. I know that was another big Hanna-Barbera series.
Yes, it was.
I know they did a really good video game based on that for the Dreamcast, I think. Wacky Races.
Yep.
But, okay, so here we are. It's been saved. Tim and character designer James Tucker say that the number one priority on Batman Cape Crusader was making sure it wasn't a repeat of Batman the Animated Series. I agree with that. You should probably do your own thing. The best way to do that, they decided, was to make the new show fully a 40 set period piece,
Yeah. Makes sense.
Which, actually, no, I say yes, that's an interesting idea. It'd be even cooler if it was black and white, but a 40-set period piece, rather than repeating the anachronistic jumble of computers and payphones that define Batman the Animated Series.
That is a good point.
No, there is not a good point, because I'm going to say this. Payphones and computers existed in the 90s when Batman the Animated Series was on TV. That is a bad comparison. You should have said black and white TVs. I didn't mind it. It's a cartoon. I thought it was interesting how you had the advanced technologies like computers, but the people were running around.
But I will say that
suits and fedoras. It was an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, but I will say that it is nice to go fully all in on a 1940s-ish type.
I think now that's a good idea. I think you could get away with it in the 90s because we weren't as far removed from the 40s as we thought we were. Now,
and I think this is also kind of setting a template that, like, hey, you could do this with James Bond too. Set it in the time period it was meant to be done in. I think, watching Fallout too, is kind of having people having that little bit of that 50s nostalgia and going, that aesthetic's kind of cool.
Everybody likes that aesthetic. Is J.J. Abrams involved with this new Batman? Then I'm not getting near it, no matter how much Batstroke repels.
Well, there's that.
I'm sure this is all. Troy is also thinking this too. Here's my thoughts on this. Abrams has been involved in crap. But as a producer of television, he wasn't bad. He gave us Alias, he gave us Lost, which was good for a number of seasons at least, and then we also got Fringe, which is one of my favorite TV shows, and that was also J.J. Abrams. Yeah. Now, I still have other things that we'll get into this in a minute about what's bothering me about this now. James and I are both really big fans of movies from that era, so we decided to really lean into that in terms of clothes, the cars, the architecture, and level of technology. Tim says of the new show's setting, early on we decided there would be no computers and no cell phones. That changed everything. In addition to using 40s noir films as a reference point, Tim and Tucker also have the actual Batman comics from that era, which feature the first appearances of characters like Catwoman and Clayface to draw on for inspiration, but there are also elements of Crusader that no Batman fans have seen before. Harley Quinn in particular looks much different than any of her previous appearances, including her origin in Batman the Animated Series. The new show characterizes her as Asian American and also separates her from her longtime partner in crime. I have more trepidations of that.
Yeah, me too.
For starter, she's always been a Joker henchwoman. Then they made her a psychologist. I don't know why they just didn't create a new character.
See, I'm sure
maybe make her be Punchline or something. I don't know.
But, don't even get me started on Punchline.
Is she awful? Okay.
She's pointless and a mixed bag. It's like they don't know what to do with her.
Well, I'll say this. Some of these animated cartoons would take things that didn't quite work in the comic and iron them out and got them to work on the show. So, but whether her solo anime series, the upcoming live-action Joker, Filet Adieu, Harley Quinn, is typically defined by a relationship with the clown plus a crime, Tim wanted to change that. I co-created the character, so I have a lot of love and affection for her, but I thought there might be something interesting about bringing her on the show, just not as Joker's girlfriend, Tim says. So how do we do that? A big part was just doing a basic flip. The original Dr. Quinzel was a little bit more serious, and when she became Harley, she got really goofy and weird. So we thought, what if we reverse that? When she's Dr. Quinzel, she's just a little bit more whimsical and fun, and then when she's Harley Quinn, she's scary. I don't know. The two halves, so it's sounding like Two-Face. I don't know. I guess they've had characters like you have the ventriloquist too. That's another split personality thing.
Here's my problem. I get what they're doing. They're trying to do the diverse thing. They're trying to do the but where you run into a problem is, well, we want to separate her from Joker. We don't want, because that's problematic, right? And
don't have her on the show.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Just don't have her on the show.
This constant changing the origins of these characters. Their origins are their origins. If you don't like those origins, don't use the character. Just keep them off your damn show. You don't need them. But the other thing too is if you're going to truly set this in the 40s, and you're going to make her an Asian American, you're going to have to do some storylines that are going to be problematic.
there's another issue too. Like, I mean, if you go back to the 40s, you had Charlie Chan movies, and of course there was a concern.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, but we say that now, but back then that was a concern over Hollywood to try and tell the audience, hey, these are Asian Americans, they're good citizens. That was what those movies were about. Even though he wasn't played by an Asian, his family members usually were.
Right.
And also, I hate to say, as I saw the picture, I think Commissioner Gordon is black again, which. There were no black police commissioners in the 1940s. We didn't get any until the 80s. I looked that up, and I'm not making a judgment call on that. Maybe that was wrong at the time. Maybe it took decades for that to finally happen.
It did. I mean, history is history. And you don't get the progress you're looking for without the stumbling blocks and the struggle, right? But of course, you have these cultural Marxists who want to ignore the progress that we've made.
But here's the thing, though. They're ignoring in these periods, but then it's like they're saying the bad stuff that happened didn't happen by having it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this for the Perry Mason series, the 1940s. There is a black police officer in that at the beginning of the series, but he's more of a beat cop, and he even faces discrimination areas himself because that stuff was going on back then.
Yep.
So I
could even get started with the Irish and how they ended up becoming, synonymous with cops and why, and the discrimination that they received. People kind of forget all about that as well. It's those who don't remember history are destined to repeat it. And I think the biggest disservice you do to any ethnic group is to forget their history and forget where they came from. Because I'll tell you, we're going to have a whole generation of kids going, well, what's the problem? We've always been diverse and everybody's always been equal. And, we had black police officers and we had black presidents and we had black mayors, even back in the 40s, apparently. Because that's what you're starting to show them now.
Well, that's what I've noticed that's been a trend over in England, and now they're doing that. I guess they're starting that. Those 40 films weren't PC by today's standards. They were trying to take... People forget this.
Yeah.
That you're saying, how horrid, and they don't understand that a lot of the movies back then, Hollywood was still... I'm not going to define them as left, at least as what we know, but they were trying to move things forward compared to what was going on in the rest of the country.
And Rosefire brings up a great cinematic point, storytelling point. Sometimes physical handicaps were great story elements. Why? Look at Rear Window, right? Guy in a wheelchair, right? As you point out, blind detective, right? These protagonist characters in challenging situations for an able-bodied person, but now you put this major impediment on them and they have to struggle even more to get over it. You can amp up the drama that way, and that's a good thing because that shows people overcoming and adapting. But of course we can't have that now. Everyone's got to be a victim. Poor me. Everyone in the world has to bow and bend to make things easier for me.
I hate to say this. This could be a compromise, though, because what's the other alternative? The other alternative is to have stories that center around groups being mistreated in this day and how bad America was back then.
Well, you got a point there, too.
There and have the narrative get bogged down with that. So we'll just ignore that aspect of the United States and just have, here's an Asian woman psychologist treating a man in the 1940s. Did they even have female psychologists treating men in the 40s?
No,
I don't know.
No.
It was usually
you would not have. No, that would have been absolutely inappropriate.
So it's.
It wasn't real. Let's face it. It was exclusively men in the psychiatric field, and although it was common for them to treat women, in retrospect, it probably was not always a good situation.
Probably would have been better if they had a female psychologist for the ladies. Yes. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see. Let me keep reading, though. There are some things. Yeah. See, I'm mixed on this. I'm mixed because should I compromise and ignore the things I don't like? Because there are things in this that actually sound good. I like the fact that it's going to be in the 40s. I think that's the right call. and this might have been the only way they could get away with doing it in the 40s. It just depends on other things Rosefire mentions that those are going to pass. He's a really weird human being, Tim says of Batman. He's not obsessed with his parents' murder, but it changed him in a way where he's still not adjusted to being a human being. He's literally Batman inside. That's who he is. Whenever he's Bruce Wayne, that's not just him with a mask off. That's him wearing a person suit. He's trying to pretend to be something he's not. To be fair, that's how it was on Batman the Animated Series, too.
True.
Tucker adds, the idea was to keep him so removed that no one knows who he is and no one knows what he's about. We try to wipe out the foregone conclusion that he's a hero, whether it's for the police, regular citizens of Gotham, or the viewers. Clayface and Catwoman also get makeovers in Cape Crusader. This I like, actually. Or more accurate, they're back to their original comic book looks. We didn't want to do the Batman the Animated Series Catwoman or the version that Ed Brubaker and Darwin Cook did in the early 2000s with that practical leather jumpsuit, which has become her default look in the comics and movies. Tim said, that's great. I love that, but we wanted to do something different, so we thought, well, let's go back to the way she was at the beginning. I love the original look that she had in the 40s. It's purple. Yeah, that's where she has like her long hair sliding down in the mask. That's where they're going with. Tucker cites Barbara Stanwyck's performance as the title character in The Lady Eve.
Oh, yeah.
For Cape Crusader's Catwoman. This is Selena Kyle, is playful and charming, though Batman and viewers underestimate her at her peril. The episode is very fun, but it also has moments that are really serious and dark, Tim says of Catwoman's appearance on the show. It's the juxtaposition of those two things that make the ad episode really cool. Clayface got a similar retro treatment. Don't expect the shape-shifting mud monster of Batman the Animated Series. Instead, Cape Crusader draws on the character's original comic book appearance inspired by classic comic movies. So, here's what I'm going to say. I already have Amazon Prime. I have it for other reasons. I think I ended up doing a year subscription by accident, plus people in my family have it. I'll give it a chance. I'll watch a couple episodes like I did the original. Keep in mind that when Batman the Animated Series premiered, it wasn't so much that I was on the lookout for woke culture, but cartoons. Yeah, I would sneak cartoons, but especially when I was getting to be a teenager, it's like back then there was still a stigma. Like if you watch cartoons as a teenager back in the early '90s, but I'm like, I'll give this a look, and I just I watched the first couple episodes. These are good. And then I got through the week, and I think by the second week, I was completely hooked. Everything. I love the fact they did all these villain origin stories on the show. Like, you got the origin of Two-Face and Clayface, and a lot of them were two-parters. It was just a really well-done show that was reminiscent of the old-fashioned cartoons they made in the 30s and 40s. So I was sold on it. We'll see if this show can stick the landing. I'm not convinced that it will, but I'll give it a shot. Yeah. Maybe it'll surprise me. We'll see. Maybe I'll be disappointed, and if I'll be disappointed, well, I'll go with low expectations that way.
Lowered expectations.
Because there's a lot in here to like.
Yeah.
So, there's a Shocky's a psychiatrist trying to kill a witness by treating her with insulin shot treatment.
That's right.
See, if they really go for that, which is what they kind of did on Batman the Animated Series, though I think it was more some of the monster movies and also gangster movies that was influencing. If they kind of lean into that a lot, it might be kind of neat.
And let's face it, this is Amazon Prime. They can get away with a little bit more than you could on network television. So.
As long as they don't make it, make it good. I've always loved the idea of retro tech, like 40s automobiles and modern tech in the dashboard. Yeah, and that's what they did on Batman the Animated Series. Let's be honest here. You know what's an interesting movie for you to watch if you've not seen it? Check out the movie L.A. Confidential.
I've seen it,
The people that directed that movie, they made a point that even though this movie takes place in the 50s, they wanted to look as modern as it could. And I thought that was an interesting take. So they would use like the most modern-looking house that would have existed in the 50s to do a scene in. And I thought that was interesting. So, yes, it is still a period piece, but they weren't... It's not like they were purposely trying to make it look old-fashioned, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm sorry, I just kind of went away a little bit thinking about... L.A. Confidential is one that I'm going to have to do on a Monday night for sure. That's where you get my favorite quote from that movie. Off the record, on the QT, and very, very hush hush.
What's a good feature to go with LA Confidential? I remember seeing Mulholland Falls, hoping it was going to be like another LA Confidential, but it didn't quite get there. Some people like that one though. But all right, let's move on.
Oh boy.
Here we go. We got to talk about it. You knew we had to talk about it. There's the Superman suit.
They're doing it all over again. These dark colors, They're giving us the Kingdom Come Superman before we even get to, putting the Kingdom Come before, we've even established this new character. I will say, I am glad to see the weightlifter trunks are back, to see the spit curl, but he's got the German National Socialist collar, just like the New 52, and I'm sorry, that's almost as much a deal breaker for me as not having the trunks, to be honest.
I'll read the article, and then you can maybe change your mind, huh? Okay, the new Superman suit.
Of course, I've already read the article, but okay,
whatever.
Give
the
it
new
a shot.
Superman's just for the chat. It's what I do.
Right.
Maybe I just skip the articles, considering how bogged down we're getting in the Kotaku thing.
Yeah.
Okay, the new Superman suit has officially debuted. The filming on James Gunn's Superman, formerly Superman Legacy, continues. The writer-director shared his Threads account. A first look at star David Corenswet,
yeah,
in costume as man. Is this another English guy?
Beats me. I don't know.
Okay, and as the Man of
I know
Steel.
nothing about this guy.
The first thing fans might notice is the suit is quite dirty and weathered, which suggests Superman will be doing plenty of down and dirty fighting in the movie. Gunn added on Threads that that the first look photo was taken on set by Jess Miglio and was entirely in camera. Corenswet is getting the big break of a lifetime as the star of Superman, which marks his first time leading a major Hollywood tentpole film. Nothing wrong with that. That's sort of how Christopher Reeve started, right?
True. That's true.
30-year-old actor, good age. 30-year-old actor is best known for his supporting roles on the two Ryan Murphy-created Netflix series, The Politician and Hollywood. His most notable film role prior to Superman was probably Pearl, the Ty West-directed horror movie starring Mia Goth. Starring opposite Corenswet and Superman is the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Emmy winner Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, who, I'll say this, she looks like a good Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult is taking on the role of Superman's infamous villain Lex Luthor. He's a good actor. We'll see how he does in this. While Gunn's cast also includes Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen, Anthony Carrigan as Metamorpho, Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, Nathan Fillion, Guy Gardner, Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, and more. Why are they bringing Hawkgirl into this?
They're throwing everything in there to set up all. They're doing the same thing that Universal did with their Dark Universe, that Mummy movie of theirs.
You know what could work though if it was a Thanagar invasion?
Oh yeah, I suppose it could.
That would be neat, but that's probably not what they're going to do.
No, probably
not.
Because that kind of a thing needs setup. So you need a Justice League before you have that,
You know what's funny? They did the Thanagar invasion. I'm spoiling. They did a Thanagar invasion on Justice League's animated series, but it took 2 seasons.
You're spoiling something from decades ago. Okay. I don't think that's a spoiler anymore.
Okay, but it was neat because Hawker was always mysterious on that show, and then the Thanagar invasion happens. And it's like it was basically the series finale of the regular Justice League before we went to Unlimited, but.
Yeah.
Disney's Wish. Let's move on. Okay, wait. What do you think of the suit, though? Huh?
I think it's great. I won't probably be watching this movie. I'll just tell you that right now. Between that collar, the colors, and Perry Black, I'm not watching this movie. They're making all the same mistakes I saw before.
Well, they had Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White in the other movies.
Don't care. I don't care.
Anyway.
I don't care. When you start taking these icons and swapping... Look, you got Mr. Terrific in there. Why do we need Perry Black?
I hate to say this. It's probably because of those Academy Award quotas.
That's fine. And guess what? Companies are getting sued for that DEI bullshit.
Anyway, we used to have Frank Langella as Perry White in Superman Returns, but we'll probably never see Frank Langella in anything again because he got canceled. But anyway, over something very stupid.
Well, that's just it. You notice how these white guys just get canceled left and right?
Yeah, well,
it's amazing how that happens.
Talk about another one at the end of the stream.
Oh, yeah.
Disney's Wish lost over $130 million according to...
Shocker! Who could have seen this coming? Oh, wait. We did.
Here we go. Disney's Wish earned nearly $255 million at the global box office, a figure that would make many animation producers envious. But for Disney, the film is considered a money-losing flop. How much money exactly did the film lose? Disney may never release an official figure, but a new report on Deadline gives a decent ballpark estimate, which is a net loss of $131 million. Per the report, the Chris Buck and Fawn Vera Thorne directed film was Hollywood's fourth biggest financial loser of 2023. Two of the bigger bombs were also Disney productions. The Marvels, $237 million loss. The Flash, $155 million loss. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, $143 million loss. Oh my goodness, you mean that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny wasn't even the worst loss Disney had that year?
That's amazing, because that's already a really low bar.
Holy cow, the Marvels lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So how does
That's
a film
amazing.
that grosses over $250 million box office end up in the red? Yeah. Per the report's math, Disney's share of the box office revenue ended up at $106 million, adding $40 million in home entertainment revenue, another $85 million for TV streaming, which that goes directly to your Disney Plus.
Yep.
It's not like you're giving it to Netflix. You're selling it to Netflix. And the film's total revenue was $231 million, but the film carried a production budget of roughly $200 million, with another $100 million in P&A, prints and advertising, and $62 million in residuals, interest, and overhead, bringing total expenses to $362 million. If there's an upside to Wish's performance, it's that the movie lost less money than Disney Animation's preceding film, Strange World, which came up $197 million short of its total expenses. They don't know what they're doing. Why did they keep Iger?
Yeah, I don't know.
Moving on. The most popular critique I heard about Wish is that it felt like it was written by AI. It might have been written by AI, Rosefire. Disney really can't do anything original nowadays. Wait, The Flash was Disney? Am I missing something? Did I say The Flash? I said The Marvels. And Ant-Man. If I said The Flash, apologies. Unless the article did a misprint.
It's possible.
Okay, if I said it by
I missed that. If
that was another bomb, though, last year. That was a disaster.
I don't think Disney made a profit on a single movie last year.
Guardians 3 probably made money.
I don't think so. If it did, it was a disappointment. It may have broken even. It
Actually,
didn't
was
pull
Guardians 3 last year? I don't remember now.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Right.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, that was last year. Thor Love and Thunder was the prior year.
Oh,
which Hemsworth is now lamenting that he shouldn't have done it. But
you think? You think?
All right, let's do the next one. Disney cuts classic character meet and greets. Have I even been? Yeah.
Oh
okay.
God, I already made the joke about this one. This is, I'm kind of pissed about this one, and well, I'll let you get the article out because I got some things to say.
All right. There we go. There we go. Look at that picture. I didn't know who this was. Thought it was a regular. This is actually a Puerto Rican, I guess, singer actually that was visiting, and that's his wife and son and daughter. Look at that.
Yeah.
This is Disney. These are the memories that last a lifetime, right? This is
look at the little girl dressed like Tinkerbell. Probably bought that outfit while she was at the park.
Exactly. Little boys dressed like Peter Pan.
Yep.
You catch that?
Yep.
And this is how it should be. And you have this lovely young woman playing Tinkerbell with the hat and everything. Okay. Disney World cuts classic character from meet and greet amid scrutiny.
Yeah.
Disney World has quietly axed one of its classic characters from doing meet and greets at the park, which is a move that comes after the character was flagged internally for its controversial portrayal in films. Tinkerbell, a character from Disney's 1953 Peter Pan movie, first disappeared from Disney World during the COVID pandemic, along with every other character as closures shut down the entire resort. When the theme park reopened, Tinkerbell never returned, and now her signage has reportedly been removed from Town Square Theater at Magic Kingdom, the only location where she used to conduct meet and greets with fans. Banners at the theater now only inform guests that they can meet Master Magician Mickey Mouse, and the only other place to spot Tinkerbell at the resort is during the Festival of Fantasy Parade, where you can see her waving at fans on the Peter Pan float. Fans can also see her take flight over the Magic Kingdom Park after the Happy Happily Ever After fireworks show. You know why they have her in that? Because she was the the Wonderful World of Disney. She would pop on. She would every time.
Not to mention anyone who has seen Peter Pan, any version of it. She is the heart behind that whole thing. I mean, that whole thing. I do believe in fairies. Clap your hands because you can help save her. It breaks the fourth wall. It gets you involved in the story. And
apparently she was big. They did a bunch of made-for-video Tinkerbell movies where she and her other fairy friends. Yes, little girls love them, from what I heard. Yeah, so
I kind of was bothered by the fact that now she's a character that talks and everything, but ultimately I love Tinkerbell. Always have.
The move from it would have been interesting if her original incarnation was a mime, right?
yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, one of the funniest things ever at a theme park was when it was at SeaWorld once, and we saw the show, but there was an actual mime who looked like Harpo Marx. In fact, he might have been based around Harpo Marx, and he was just messing with people in the audience, and I was terrified that he would come by me, but also elated when he was doing stuff with other people. Like, for instance, I think like the husband had to get up for a second from the seat and do something, and so he just sat down next to the wife, right?
Yeah, that's a classic one. Yeah,
and the husband comes out, hey, what? You get it? And like the guy just starts mimicking him, and it was hilarious. And then he showed up on stage during the production. It was kind of funny. Like,
that's brilliant.
It was like a Polynesian sort of thing, right? Where they were doing something on stage. But then he showed up at one point in production. But the move from Disney comes after it confirmed her disappearance from meet and greets at the resort in February. Disney character meet and greets do change the Disney parks, wrote a planned Disney representative in response to a question about Tinkerbell's disappearance. It's always been a good idea to keep an eye on Walt Disney World website for character updates. Yeah, okay, but what are they replacing her with? Tinkerbell has reportedly faced scrutiny from Disney's Stories Matters team ahead of the debut of Disney Plus in 2019. The team reportedly flagged and labeled the character Disney executives as potentially problematic, claiming that she is body conscious, and jealous of Peter Pan's attention, according to a 2023 report from the New York Times.
So first, that's basically their way of saying you can't have pretty anymore. She's got to be ugly. We got to ugly her up. I kind of wasn't joking when I made the Taco Bell joke. Okay? So that's the first problem. Second problem, we can't have a character who gets jealous of another female character. That's problematic.
Okay.
Even though we live in a friggin' world where people have relationships and get jealous. Maybe our kids, male and female, need to learn to deal with emotions like that.
Deal with jealousy, because you'll get jealous.
But we can't have jealousy. We're going to get, what is it? What's the new emotion they're putting in Inside Out or In and Out or whatever it's called? Anxiety, yeah.
They got rid of shame. They were thinking about having shame.
Can't have shame. You're going to have anxiety, right?
Ridiculous.
We're going to have anxiety because we got dingle hoppers like this telling us we can't have pretty people. You can only have fat slobs.
Look at that smile. They're all smiling, but look at the smile on Tinkerbell. Come on. That just melts you.
Yeah, mom, daughter, you should both be ashamed of yourselves. You're in shape and slender. Get out of the park.
Anyway, I don't understand Disney. It didn't seem like it was that long ago where they were making all these CG Tinkerbell animated movies that were apparently very popular. They
had a whole line of toys that went with them too.
They weren't nuts, and now it's just they don't like Peter Pan. And the thing is, Disney, Peter Pan was never really Disney's anyway.
True.
It's not even a fairy tale.
Well, this is another one of those ones that Daily Wire could pick up and do.
There was an excellent live-action Peter Pan movie that I think was originally shot to Disney, and I think they would have had to give money over to the orphans, and they said no. So they ended up doing a different production. Have you seen it? It's a very good Peter Pan adaptation.
Yeah. Well, I've seen just about every version, so I probably have.
This was a good one. It was made during the aughts. It was a good up to date. And as usual, the actor who played Captain Hook also played the dad.
That's the way it should be.
Yes.
That is the way it should be, yeah.
Inside
and
Out.
You know that I have a very personal affinity for Peter Pan. I was in our school's production of Peter Pan. I played Jonathan. I had the top hat and the glasses.
Inside Out is going to have envy, but all the new emotions are going to come across as vices/sins. Listen, we all feel envy at one point in our life. You know, it's to be human, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes being human is not always the good stuff. Let's be honest here. It's about what you do when you get the bad stuff in you, what you do with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong? I don't know. I'm getting too philosophical here.
Seriously, I am looking over at Mom and going, you know what? She would be considered problematic by Disney.
Yeah, probably. I don't get it. I hope the kids had a good time. And I hope they have an even better time at Super Nintendo Land next year or something.
Yeah.
And maybe they can hire this actress to play someone over there. Okay, there's Princess Zelda. There you go.
You're not wrong.
Or actually, she could play one of the fairies from the Zelda games. There you go.
Exactly.
The fairies from the Zelda games are always interesting. Actually, no, you do. You could never really see what they look like. They were like little balls of light.
True.
But
which,
anyway.
Of course, is how Tinkerbell was portrayed in all the stage productions, because,
Yes, I think they were probably using that as a reference, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so here we go. Disney shares sync as streaming.
Shocker. It was hysterical because I was watching this real time. I was watching the Valiant Renegade. Valiant Renegade always covers these earnings calls live, and he was doing the Disney one, and when it was over, I think it was Mikey the Mexican Iron Man said, well, we'll see how the stocks are doing in about 15 minutes, because the stocks hadn't opened yet, and literally at the opening bell, just boom, dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, a lot of companies have been doing that lately, though. It's almost like the economy's not so hot.
Well, when you have an earnings call, I mean, you could say the same thing about the Paramount earnings call, too, where they didn't take any questions. They just, it's been great working here, and I've loved working with all these people. Next person. Okay, we're out. Bye. It's like, okay. That was a hell of an earnings call. And the Disney one wasn't significantly better. They did take calls this time. They weren't, pre-scripted and, read by an AI voice. That was the actual investors getting their questions in. And they were professional, but harsh.
It's good you have to sound professional. You can't sound like you're on the attack, because you want to catch them off guard.
Right.
Because if you come in on the attack, they know they'll just. But if you
and again, it's unprofessional. These investment people, I mean, the term "it's just business" is how they live their life. They don't have any personal feelings about your politics, your opinions, your beliefs. That's all just chaff to them. They come out and they're like, so, what are your plans for Marvel? Why isn't it making money? And what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And that literally was one, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically one of the questions that was asked. Ironically, well, not ironically, it shouldn't.
Marvel could still be the money. Well, I don't know if it could still be, but
there was not a single question like that about Star Wars, though. You know why? When was the last time you saw a Star Wars movie in the theaters?
I mean, you could reboot Marvel and probably make it a success again, and just pretend like Endgame was the last Marvel movie.
Yep, right? But that is not what the bankers are calling, and investment brokers are calling in with. They're calling in and saying, what is your plan? It's up to Disney and Iger to come up with that plan and
Marvel
say, this is what we're planning to do.
Since after
he does
the
not.
Finale.
He does not. And his answers made that very clear. And that is why the stocks dropped.
Because they're like they're getting out of there, basically.
Now, I posted a snapshot of the day's trade on Disney, and you see this big cliff, and throughout the day, it just stays low, and then there's a sudden spike, and then it drops back down again. And I said, look at that little spike there. Wonder what that is. I wonder if maybe Trian Group is buying some stocks. But I'll tell you, the other thing that tells me, when these stocks drop off like that, I think there's some people with buyer's remorse.
Yeah. Does Disney have any more live-action remakes in the pipeline besides Snow White? We have Mufasa coming out this Christmas.
True.
Which, I'm trying to think if there's anything else after Snow White, though. That might be all for now. They're probably banking on Mufasa. They were originally going to do an Aladdin sequel, but that's probably not happening now.
Oh, almost certainly not. And there are... And this is pure rumor speculation territory based only on the silence about the project, but there's a lot of people wondering if the Snow White movie is even going to happen.
It's going to happen. It'll get a release. It's going to come out, and it may just come
Not
out
necessarily. They could Batgirl this
How
thing.
can they pivot it now?
They may not have a choice. Remember, they've put this off until 2025. Disney may not even be in Iger's hands a year from now.
So you think they just take the loss or take the tax write-off or whatever?
It would be the smartest move they could possibly make, especially since the reason they've pushed it out a year is because they have to refilm almost the entire thing.
No. Disney's combined streaming business, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN, came close to making money in the second quarter. It says the entertainment giant said Tuesday that a combined streaming service saw revenues of $6.19 billion and an operating loss of just $18 million in the second quarter. The operating loss represented a decrease of 97% for the same period last year. And things were rosier for Disney's entertainment streaming business of Disney Plus and Hulu. I think I did something out of order here. Okay, they achieved important milestones. They achieved an important milestone of notching an operation income $47 million in the quarter. CEO Bob Iger said that's particularly noteworthy when you consider the reported peak losses only 18 months ago. Iger said in a statement. Iger noted that Disney's path to streaming profitability will not be linear. While we're anticipating a softer third quarter due in large part to the seasonality of our India sports offerings, we fully expect streaming to be a growth driver for the future, the future of the company, and we have prioritized the steps necessary to achieve this yet. What do you think? Is this just doublespeak? He says streaming's not doing as badly as it was. That's what he's saying. We're in it to win it.
This is another one of those I don't want to call it doublespeak. It is true what he's saying, but you have to pay attention to what is actually being said. There is no money to be made in streaming. It's just not. So if it's doing better than it has been, well, that's wonderful. They're still losing money on it.
Let's move on to Miss Gina Carano, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of good news. This was expected, but there was always the off chance, and we were hoping that it would go this way, and it has. I'll explain after you've gotten into the article.
Yes. So here we go. Oh wait, let's not do previews. All right. A month after Disney and Lucasfilm filed paperwork to have Gina Carano's wrongful discharge and sex discrimination suit tossed out, the fired Mandalorian stars kicked back to keep her Elon Musk-supported legal action off the mat. After admitting that they discriminated against Carano for her personal political beliefs and subjected her to disparate treatment from her similarly situated male co-stars, the Walt Disney Company, Lucasfilm Limited, and Huckleberry Industries, collectively defendants, asserted that the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution gives them absolute immunity, says the May 9th response to the defendants' motion dismissed from Carano's charge. Jaffe lawyers filed in federal court where defendants are incorrect. Tugging the Constitution out of the mouse's hands, the reply adds neither the First Amendment itself nor the few cases of applying the First Amendment in the context of casting gives employers the right to control or punish personal speech of the employees. None of Carano's comments reference defendants, Star Wars, or The Mandalorian, or anything to do with defendants. Carano's claims do not seek to impose any message on defendants or to change defendants' speech in any fashion. Defendants' motion dismissed. Defendants is Disney, I take it.
Right.
Okay. Defendant's motion to dismiss should be denied. Carano's team states knowing the First Amendment does not give defendants the carte blanche authority to terminate Carano for expressing her personal beliefs. A hearing on the dismissal motion by Disney and the other defendants against former MAA star Carano has been set for June 12th in the DTLA before Judge Sherilyn P. Scarnett. Just a touch under 3 years after Carano was pink slipped by Disney and didn't see her Mandalorian contract renewed for what Lucasfilm said were her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities. The actress who played bounty hunter Cara Dune for 2 seasons on the series sued the once again Bob Iger-run entertainment giant Star Wars division of Disney and Huckleberry Industries. The actress is looking for an injunction to get her Mandalorian gig back. I want to say this too. If no one comes forward as the one who fired her, was she ever fired then? Right? I've made this argument.
Yes. Here's why. This whole motion on Disney's part for dismissal is effectively them taking responsibility for it. They're saying, sure, we fired her, and we have a right to do it, and it's because of our First Amendment right. That's what Disney is saying. So it ultimately comes down to, it doesn't matter who actually fired her. The Disney Corporation is taking responsibility, as they should, for doing it. They're basically admitting it. And they're basically admitting, we fired her for this reason. Ironically, that's an admission of guilt. What Disney either fails to understand or is trying to obfuscate here is you don't have a First Amendment right to treat people differently. There are laws, especially in California, that say you cannot fire someone because of their personal beliefs or their political opinions or their stated expression. That's what this whole case is about. So by trying to dismiss it because you're claiming this is an infringement on our First Amendment right, oh, okay, so you're admitting you did this thing because that's how you were expressing your First Amendment right, which, First Amendment right does not trump, for a corporation, does not trump the equal employment opportunity laws.
Do you think they'll make a movie out of this one day?
I would love that if they did. Hell, I think they should do it over the Daily Wire with Gina Carano playing herself, for crying out loud. I can't imagine them doing that though, because that would probably lead to a whole other lawsuit. But still,
I wonder though if they'll maybe a documentary. Then they could do that. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I wonder if this is going to go to court.
Well, the other thing too is that it shows that Gina really intends to go the distance with this thing. The next option would be Disney tries to settle out of court, and I hope she rejects that as well. I really do.
Are you excited?
I'm not a council guy. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get excited about Nintendo nothing.
You're never excited about anything. Oh, my goodness.
I know. I'm just such a wet blanket.
Okay, let's go back. Disney admitted they did fire Carano after having her opinion not following lockstep. Disney's corporate doublespeak sounds like she got Disney in a headlock. She probably
I want to speak to that, too. Thank you for reminding me, Rosefire. That was another point I wanted to bring up before anyone else, I know a lot of people come out and say, but she didn't get fired. They just didn't renew her contract. There's a big thing that people forget. When you have had a recurring role in a show, you go into negotiations for future, future seasons. And in her case, they had already announced Rangers of the New Republic. There is no way they make that announcement about Rangers of the New Republic without having already had a conversation with her and at least having a verbal agreement with her. Now, I haven't seen anything in the court documents talking about that, but I would bet my left gnocchi that that is going to come up in the disclosure, she is going to say we had a verbal agreement for Rangers of the New Republic, and I made plans based on that, and yeah, that's going to be very, very damaging to Disney.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I do believe she's going to get some sort of a payout out of this, but I'm hoping that it's not because of them settling. I'm hoping it's because of a finding, because that's really what I believe Gina is after with this, is getting her name cleared, and sending a message to these studios.
Good night, Rosefire.
Take care, Rosefire. Thanks.
All right, now let's move on to the important thing. Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. What? You excited? A little bit? Yeah.
Is this has this always been a thing, this championship thing?
You didn't watch the trailer, did you? In the trailer, They were showing all the winners of the Nintendo Championships. They've had Nintendo, I think going back to the late 80s maybe, they've done the Nintendo World Championships. And they have all the recent winners, and they're on the living room playing this new Switch game, which is supposed to be like a version that you can play on your Switch that's like you're at the actual NES Championship competition. And in these things, you would have to do certain things in so many seconds, like get the mushroom in 5 seconds, stuff like that. You get little things you have to do, right?
And in showing these winners, were they all like real diverse? I mean,
well, they were
all the intersectional groups represented?
No, but there was like a guy who I think was of
well, then this is problematic, and really Nintendo should be shut down.
But I'm saying the group seemed pretty diverse to me, because gamers, of course, unlike what the journalists always tell us, it's always these evil straight white. No, gamers have always come in many different groups.
Right.
People all over the world play video games. People all over the world are now making video games.
Yep.
So this is not. Anyway, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Nintendo has confirmed the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition for the Switch following a rating from the ESRB. Launching on 18th July 2024, the game will include over 150 challenges across 13 NES titles. That's the old 8-bit console. Drawing inspiration from the original championship tournament back in 1990, you'll be tasked with completing challenges in the fastest time possible, such as rushing to grab the first Super Mushroom in Super Mario Bros. Or racing up platforms to reach a door in Metroid. You can use your NSO NES controllers, so if you have the official NES controllers for the Switch, you can use those with it too. If you've got them in local multiplayer supported, while you can also compete in weekly global online leaderboards, just as if you're competing in a proper tournament, sort of. Heck, the trailer ends with a beautiful little cameo from original 1990 world champion Jeff Hansen, a gentleman who was written about before in quite some detail, who apparently provides the trailer's voiceover too. Yeah, he shows up at the end, and of course he's like a middle-aged gentleman now, right? Because he was a kid in '90, right? But this is introducing a physical deluxe edition has also been confirmed and will be exclusive to the Nintendo Store. You can register your interest now via the official UK website, or pre-orders are now open in the US. This will contain a physical copy of the game, a replica gold NES cartridge, 13 art cards, 5 stylish NES themed prints. It'll set you back $60. Here's the official blurb from Nintendo. Play like it's 1990. Test your speed running skills in over 150 challenges in Nintendo World Championships NES Edition on Nintendo Switch. Each town relives a memorable moment from one of 13 NES games, including classics like Super Mario Bros. 3, The Legend of Zelda, Donkey Kong, and Metroid. See how quickly you can blaze to the first level of Super Mario Bros. Or how fast you can gobble up an enemy in Kirby's Adventure. Hone your skills and see if you have what it takes to be a champion. All right.
Well, I can tell you with certainty that I don't have what it takes to be a championship at a console game.
Okay. Did you ever see the movie The Wizard back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Which was the Nintendo expert kid in that. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Fred Savage was in it. It was that basically was that was sort of a version of the Nintendo World Championships. Maybe before they had the Nintendo World Championships.
Oh, gotcha.
That was like a precursor to that, but apparently they've had them going ever since. I didn't realize that. So
interesting.
Maybe they do more recent games. I don't know. But this is the NES edition. I assume there'll probably be a Super Nintendo edition at some point too. But I got my pre-order in because they sold out fast to get a physical copy.
Wow.
The special collector, they're all gone. I got mine through Best Buy. We'll see if they deliver when the time comes. But
you think you have what it takes to be a champion?
No.
Oh.
I love video games. I never said I was good at them. I'm getting there with Breath of the Wild, though. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
I'm getting good at killing these horrible robotic things that were leftovers from the horrible calamity that happened 100 years ago. That was when the good king of Hyrule believed the prophecy that Calamity Ganon would return, and he got all the ancient. He brought all the ancient weaponry up that the ancients had to fight Calamity Ganon. We're going to restore these, and we're going to fight him again. Unfortunately, Calamity Ganon ended up infecting the old technology, and then it started attacking everybody in the kingdom with it.
Yikes.
The thing I feel sad about, usually in these stories, it's usually about someone ignoring the prophecy, right? This is an old wives' tale. No, in this game, they took it seriously. So, no, this is going to happen. We have to prepare, but preparing didn't help them. That's what makes it kind of a tragedy. You know?
Well, but that also kind of fits the whole, concept of a prophecy, right? Maybe, it's not a prophecy because you can prevent it from happening. It's just, it's gonna happen. Be prepared.
Well, usually the hero, Link would stop them, but something went terribly wrong. But that's sort of how the game starts. You wake up in a cryo chamber 100 years later after the events of this big war, where basically the hero's lost.
Yeah, it happens.
And Hyrule got devastated. Yes. Xbox. Oh boy, you like that Xbox? I picked a dingy Xbox.
Well,
this was the big news.
It seems like a dingy story too. So.
Shock and anger as Xbox shuts down Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and more. There's a lot of varying opinions about this online. I don't even know where I'm quite at. I think it's a shame, though, that these studios got shut down. A lot of people losing their jobs right now. The video game industry has reacted with shock and anger after Microsoft shut down several game studios today, May 7, 2024, including Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks, the developers of Redfall and Hi-Fi Rush, respectively. Both developers and fans have shared their disappointment in the closures, announced to staff via email the morning of May 7, 2024. Head of Xbox Game Studios Matt Booty told employees of the studios, which joined Microsoft under Bethesda parent company ZeniMax, the cuts were a result of the reprioritization of titles and resources. This is absolutely terrible, wrote Arcane line director Dinga Bakaba on X-Twitter, whose studio survived the closures and will continue working on Marvel's Blade. To any executive reading this, friendly reminder that video games are an entertainment and cultural industry, and your business as a corporation is to take care of your artists and entertainers and help them create value for you. Yeah. Don't throw us into gold fever gambits. Don't use us as strawmen for miscalculation of blinds us. Don't make our work environments Darwinist jungles. Oh, Microsoft would never do that. You say we make you proud when we make a good game. Make us proud when times are tough. We know you can. We've seen it before. Another quote for now. Great teams are sunsetting before our eyes, and again, it's an effing gut stab line. Lion is safe, but please be tactful and discerning about all this, and respect affected folks' voices and leave it room to be heard. It's their story to tell, their feelings to express. Not if they're under some kind of disclosure contract.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Several other developers weighed in on the closure too, which also affects mobile game developer Alpha Dog Games. It's unclear how many staff have lost their jobs across the studios. Microsoft currently valued at more than $3 trillion. Can you fathom that amount of money?
Wow. Yeah.
Could they take care of our debt? It's probably not enough, is it?
Oh my gosh.
Not nearly enough, but that's a lot of money. Declined to expand further on the contract by IGN. Contacted by IGN. Arcane Austin and Tango being shut down is the biggest letdown from the Microsoft acquisitions. Okay, let me explain to you something to you. Microsoft acquired Bethesda a few years back. This was before their Activision buyout, and that was considered huge at the time when they got Bethesda. That means they got the company that made, the Doom games, id Software. They got them. They got the people that made Skyrim and the Fallout, which that new series is based off of. So Microsoft got all the studios, and they also got Tango, which was a Japanese studio started by Bethesda, which was to get Japanese talent involved in the organization. And this was started by, and it was originally headlined by the guy that created the Resident Evil series, and that was their studio in Japan. But now that studio's gone. Arcane Austin and Tango being shut down, the biggest letdown from the Microsoft acquisitions, wrote Anthony Penacasio, level design team leader at Splinter Cell remake at Ubisoft Toronto on LinkedIn. They were making exciting new IP, even though they were rough around the edges. I played both Redfall and Ghostwire Tokyo, and
to completion when they launched and still have fond memories of them. Sebastian Mitten, co-creative director of Arcane Lion, called the closures a very, very bad wake-up call. A thought for our brothers and sisters in Texas, Canada, and Japan who are going through a very difficult time. Our hearts go out to you all in this very terrible ordeal. Think about this. Texas, Canada, and Japan.
Yeah.
Three distinct countries there. This is being affected by everything. Adam Boyes, co-CEO of Iron Galaxy Studios and former PlayStation executive, didn't comment on the closures directly next Twitter, but shared a screenshot of a GeekWire article from April 25th, 2024, which showed Microsoft posting a 17% increase in revenue and a 21.9 billion profit in its later financial earnings report. For everyone who's been pestering, is that like a swipe right there?
Possibly.
You're making billions in profits, but you're still firing everybody. Okay. To everyone who's been pestering me for years about why we didn't allow Moon Studios to get acquired by a big publisher, that's why, wrote Thomas Mahler, boss of the studio behind Ori and the Blind Forest on X Twitter. I lived through the 90s and saw what happened when smaller studios got acquired by EA. EA destroyed a bunch of studios when they acquired them.
Yes,
remember the Command and Conquer series? That was made by a studio that got wiped out. That was a problem they had with Westwood Studios when they were trying to do the Blade Runner remaster, because EA lost the code on them. Because Westwood made that game, the remastered, the original that the remaster was based on. Former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra posted a lengthy statement on Twitter addressing the anger and confusion following the news, but also pushing back on criticism of Xbox boss Phil Spencer. I know this hurts him as much as anyone else, Ybarra said. I can't speak for all the leadership there, but I do know him, and I do know what he's likely going through. I don't know. This is like I feel your pain, right?
Well, look, I may not know gaming, but I understand business. And you always have this when a company is mismanaged and loses money. They have to close up shop. People lose their jobs. I'm sorry. This is what happens,
What's the purpose of acquiring all these IPs? Are they just acquiring these companies, just acquire select IPs and cut out the fluff? I don't, because I know before Congress or something, before some kind of hearing, Microsoft had to said, we're worried about you becoming a monopoly, about you acquiring these studios, and that you might just dissolve them or something. So no, we want them at Microsoft to thrive or Xbox to thrive, and apparently that's not happening right now.
Yeah, and the irony here is, we don't worry. We're going to acquire all of these things, and then we're just going to trash them. They're just going to go away. So we won't end up having a net anything if you let us do this.
Did you know on Friday there was an interview, I think, on Bloomberg? The president of Xbox was being interviewed, and it's like this was not an opportune time. And I think the interviewer gave her a really good question. She said, if Hi-Fi Rush was such a great game and did very well, and if that studio still gets, let go, what is the measure of success then?
Yeah,
that's what she asked her. And
that's an excellent question.
She got a, and the response was, "Oh, it's a really tough time in the gaming industry," and she was just giving it. It was an evasive answer, obviously.
It absolutely was.
And then she started talking about how great the Fallout series is, and how we own Fallout. And I'm thinking,
it sounds a lot like the things
to do with the Fallout series.
This is no. This is exactly like how Iger answered questions during the earnings call when they asked him about. I alluded to this before. They asked him about what are you doing with Marvel? How are you going to make it profitable? And he spent most of the time answering the question, talking about all the other projects that were all 20th Century Fox things, like
the Apes movie.
What's it called? The Deadpool and. What are the other movies they got coming out? They got another Blue Lizard water movie. What's it called? Avatar.
Avatar, yeah, those are big.
Lizard cats, whatever they are.
Navi, they're called the Navi.
Whatever. They talked about all these other things that Disney had nothing to do with before he finally said, "Oh yeah, and we're looking forward to what we got coming out with Marvel. We got." And he named a couple projects that got pushed out. It's like, okay, that's and it's those kinds of answers. It's the same kind of thing. They know they've screwed up. The answer is we've mismanaged this and we're closing shops because we're contracting. But we're going to put as positive a spin on it as possible by, hey, look at this shiny object over here.
Yep. Critics have put a spotlight on previous comments from higher up saying that they've learned their lesson from studio closures like Fable developer Lionhead.
That's bullshit. These people never learn their lesson. Because they're not losing their jobs.
Oh, so they acquired Lionhead in 2006 and subsequent closure of the studio in 2016. A couple years later, reflected back on those experiences. Bond said in the clip, "What did we learn? How do we not repeat the same mistakes?" Unfortunately, you learned absolutely nothing. Xbox.
Exactly.
Clobrill on X Twitter. I don't know. And of course, let's do the. Actually, I also have to get to bed. Great stream. I know we're getting to the depressing stuff now, but stick with us. We'll end on a. Oh no, the Kevin Spacey story. So that's not a positive note. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's get rid of the people who actually do stuff to pay off the executives. I have to tell you something. It's hard finding talent. Being a game programmer, that's a skill that takes years to develop, and then you just cast them off to the side.
Well, and that's what everyone's complaining about with Disney too. Losing all the talent, whether it's the Imagineers in the parks or the cartoonists, in their animation division. You've brought in a bunch of quota fillers, and you've lost all of your talent. How do you think that's going to go? This is the whole what happens next scenario. Right, I put the paint. I balance it on the door jamb, so the door's a little bit open. Somebody's gonna come walking through it. What happens next? What happens next is the paint can falls on the guy. Right, this is the kind of stuff you teach kids in kindergarten. Right, so you bring in a bunch of talentless hacks because of the color of their skin, their gender identity, and their political beliefs. You get rid of all the people that have made your business successful. What happens next? Shock. You go out of business. This is why we keep saying, get woke, go broke. Because it keeps happening over and over and over again. That's just a saying. It's not true. The sun also rises every morning. You know why we know that? Because it happens every damn morning. Even when it's overcast, you kind of know the sun's still up there.
Speaking of things that are hot, like the sun.
So yeah, exactly. Is that torches? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, this is the answer to that question. Have you learned anything? Clearly not.
Oh my, I can't believe they did this. Okay, Microsoft torches multiple Xbox studios, then tells you to feel the burn with the most tone-deaf controller launch of all time. Microsoft has closed 3 studios in totality. They folded Roundhouse Studios into ZeniMax. Oh, they folded studios too. We're talking about all the ones that they got rid of, but they folded a bunch too. Yep. Hours after the news broke, Microsoft revealed a new fiery-themed controller with the tagline "Feel the Burn" before changing it. It's a common sentiment. The frustration with Microsoft's marketing team, or rather the lack thereof, the perception is that the level of advertising for games on Xbox is consistently low. Yeah, nobody knows what's coming out. Yet there's one constant, the arrival of shiny new controllers now at the worst of times. Yeah, they're very good at releasing controllers. I'll even say this. They've released some nice-looking controllers for the Xbox in various designs, and they do look good. But starting with the tagline...
again, I am not a console guy, so I don't know from controllers and whatnot, but I can imagine that I don't give a flying F about your controllers if all the games that I like are going away and being wokeified and a bunch of crap. Or you're closing up the studios so that when these games that I do like maybe come out, they're all full of bugs that are never going to get fixed because you don't have enough people to do it.
I do think these controllers are also PC compatible, too.
You might want to get one. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm hearing crickets. Let's move on. You're not finding the humor in any of this. Okay, I guess it's not very funny, is it? Okay.
Well, I'm just, it's kind of sad, is what it really is.
Anyway, Fire Vapor Special Disc Controller. Who's running the Microsoft marketing team? Beavis and Butthead? What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
At least for now, they changed it into something more appropriate, like introducing the Fire Vapor Special Disc Controller. But the point still stands. Now is not the time to launch another rebranded controller. We get that this is one of the few accessories Microsoft is willing to sell en masse. It's one of the few things they released that I have any interest in, actually. But I think your shareholders would have forgiven you had you waited at least a day announcing any controller, much less a fiery controller, on the day you shut down multiple of its studios.
Yeah, that Feel the Burn is just incredibly tone deaf.
Part of me thinks it was on purpose.
I think most of the people that would have, had some say over it were clueless. But you're right. Somebody that came up with that was like, "Oh, this will be funny."
Yes. Sorry, I think I bumped my mic there. All right. Okay. So yeah. So that's it for Microsoft. Let's face it, same everywhere. I don't know. It seems to be particularly bad. Whatever you want to say about Nintendo and Sony. I'll say this at least with Nintendo too. Nintendo tends to not fire people if they can help it. I think because you need these people making games or putting them somewhere. At least I've heard that. And to be fair, I don't even know if Sony is as bad as Microsoft in this week. Okay, yeah, we're not doing this one, but this one is a reference point we'll be talking about. Go ahead and post them. Okay, so we are going to talk about them, but not only.
We're skipping over the farm folk thing.
We are because, quite frankly, it got confusing to me. There's talks about jiggle physics, and was he making a joke about jiggle physics? And then Black Girl Gamers yelled at him, and then Alyssa McCarthy decided to interview him, the creator of this, and then said that he thinks the people obsessed with the breasts are a bunch of incel losers, and he's saying, I did not say that. There might have been a language issue, so we're thinking he's basically saying that she misrepresented what he was saying. He's trying to sell a game. I think he did an April Fool's joke where you could say, which are the best here with the way the character moved with the jiggle physics, and everybody got all in a tizzy about that, even though it was just meant as a harmless joke. And then I think he went to her to kind of clear his name, and then she made things worse. I
think the establishing thing here is you got yourself a game journo who is more a crusader than a journalist, and that's why this is even a thing, because they made something out of it.
That's why something happened 10 years
By the way, I meant for this to be gaming / Kotaku, but I forgot the Kotaku part.
It's okay. Here's the Kotaku. Yet another Geo Media, your top editor quits. Yeah, this one I'm going to read from.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, we can still discuss the other ones, only because the whole breast physics thing threw me off. But that's neither here nor there. Alyssa McCarthy contacts. Oh wait, that's another one. Okay, so this is the Kotaku picture. All right. Here we go. Yet another. You can look up her picture online if you want. All right.
She looks exactly like you would expect.
Looks like how you would expect her. Someone who could be normal and decided not to be.
She looks like Frost on meth.
Yeah, well,
and pretty much acts like it too.
Actually, yikes! There is a similar with that hairstyle.
Oh yeah. She's one of these, these. I would almost, at this point, say almost fifth wave feminist weirdo, neo-Marxist.
Do you know where she was though? Earlier this week or last week, or she was at the that Met Gala thing that everybody was talking about.
Okay,
you know what I'm talking about all the weirdos.
I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, okay. Anyway. Okay, so this is an article just about Kotaku. This is from like a month ago, but it plays into what's going on here, or maybe it was a couple months ago. Geo Media lost yet another top editor on Thursday as Kotaku's editor-in-chief Jen Glennon announced her resignation from atop the gaming news outlet. Her exit continues the beleaguered media company's losing streak of bleeding top talent, shutting down websites, and undermining its wider credibility. Some personal news: I've resigned from Kotaku, and Jim Spanfeller is an herb. Or if that's a typo. Glennon wrote on X on Thursday, referring to the GeoMax CEO and the unflattering nickname staffers, past and present, have bestowed upon him. Okay. In a follow-up post, Glennon said she was feeling great about her decision. Neither Geo Media nor Glennon immediately responded to a request for comment. According to the Aftermath, Glennon resigned after Geo Media proposed the website pivot from reporting gaming news to producing video game guides.
The company expected Kotaku staffers to meet a quota of 50 guides a week, according to the report. After careful consideration, I have concluded that the current management structure and decision-making processes at Geo Media are not aligned with my values and goals for Kotaku, Glennon wrote in a letter of resignation, as Aftermath reported. Glennon joined the website in October 2023, writing on X, "It's such a huge privilege to join this team, and I'm so excited for all the weird, wonderful stuff we'll get to do together." She joined as Kotaku's parent company faced scrutiny over a wide spectrum of issues, from its use of generative AI to labor fights at some properties to losing nearly 10 editors-in-chief in less than a year. That's a lot.
Yeah.
A round of layoffs across the company followed Glennon's first month on the job, including some Kotaku staffers. Geo Media also shuttered Jezebel, which has since been resurrected elsewhere. No, just let it die. Why? I thought Jezebel was gone.
Just let a dead horse lie. Quit beating it.
It made the world a worse place, and I'm sure the reporters were never paid anything anyway. They did it for the privilege of making it the world a worse place, and now they just got it. Just move on. Okay, sold off to Deadspin, to a European firm that gutted the sports site staff and reported plans to turn the brand into a gambling referral outfit. Sold off Deadspin. Okay, Deadspin, wait a minute. Hold on a second. It's a sports site that's now going to turn into a gambling referral outlet? That was Deadspin.
That kind of doesn't surprise me.
That's kind of disturbing, actually.
It is. You're right.
It goes from a sports site to a sports gambling site. Here's where you can, you want to read about sports. You want to make lots of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Boomer Rant and 543.
And it will take a little cut off the top.
The Troy Rant's coming. Okay, so this is what the impression I got. I always thought this was very unusual. 50 guides a week. I don't think that's humanly possible. You know what a guide is, right? It's like a game guide. Like, how do I beat the
Oh, sure. Yeah.
How do I pull off these moves in Street Fighter? I'm showing my age, but or the new Mortal Kombat. But the point is to do 50 guides a week. That strikes me as insane. I think 50 a month would be a lot to handle. 50 a week?
Yep.
So part of me wondered if they were doing this because they basically want people just to quit.
Yeah, possibly.
But at the same time, they had hired a senior editor over there known as Alyssa McCartney. Am I getting Mercanti? Alyssa Mercanti. I'd read about her a few months back because I knew she existed and was at the place to stir up trouble. Whether she was stirring up trouble for Geo Media because Geo Media wanted her to, or if she was just doing that of her own accord with some of the other staff there, I don't know. But her main plan was to go after YouTubers. That was her big thing. She was going to write a hit piece on Melanie Mack. I remember she was going to do that. Maybe she still did. Melanie Mack was even going to interview with her, but I think she called it off, which probably was the smarter thing because I think, as we've seen, she twists words. I think in the case of the guy that did the gardening game, just this whole thing got taken out of context because English isn't his first language either. So I just she's bad news. I've known she's been bad news. I don't like talking about her. I feel I have to talk about her as a kind of a PSA for everybody. She is bad news. She is toxic. Stay away from her. But we're going to talk about something she did, because what she did coming up next is she crossed a line that should never be crossed. I've often wondered if this would ever happen in these culture wars, and she, in my opinion, crossed the Rubicon here. And let's get to the... Oh, I got to paste it. Sorry. This is the one I'm going to paste. Alyssa Mercanti contacts my wife in full unhinged meltdown. So this is from Smash, a YouTuber known as Smash JT.
Yep.
He's been making the rounds this week. He was on Ryan Roger Athey's stream the other day.
Yes, he was. In fact, let me drop that the link to that.
Go ahead and drop the links, yeah. Just give me a sec to drop the other part of this.
Oh, I thought I guess I didn't have.
No, you don't have this one. I don't think. I think
I'll get it. I'll get it.
No, it's okay. Oh, the link to the thing. You might have the link to the stream. Okay.
Yeah, let me get that.
Yeah, so I went ahead and posted that the die is cast. Unfortunately, yes, the die is cast. I don't want it to be this way. There's certain lines you don't cross, even in these kind of internet blood sports, and you don't cross this line, and she did. Exactly. And she's gotten hit back, and even though I don't necessarily agree with her being hit back in that way, I don't necessarily, like Troy said, before the stream, I don't think I necessarily care, because she,
Yeah, I am not advocating that anyone, dox people or go after them or anything like that. But when it happens, I don't have any sympathy for you, girl. You brought it on yourself.
So, this is...
But yes, when I saw that Ryan Roger Athe had him as a guest, I was like, wow, that's incredible. And I was able to get in there. And while the stream was happening, some friggin' troll got in there and was trying to put JT's full name in.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to dox him. And it's
these are dangerous people.
Screw you people.
They're very dangerous. They don't care anymore. We'll have more news on something else that happened that got reported today, but we're not going to talk about. Maybe I'll mention at the end of the stream, at the end of this talk.
Here is a link to the playlist on Smash JT's channel with all the videos that he's been doing.
He's done videos all week.
He's been doing multiple videos a day about this because let's face it, they made it personal.
He's like, this is done when I say it's done. He was saying that because I'm sorry. Yep. What did she do that's so horrible?
Well, and this was one of the things he was saying, that people are coming to him and going, okay, she's learned her lesson. She's on the run now. Let it go. And he says, no, I am not doing that. You don't get to do that. You don't come and reach out to my wife, and then say, oh, sorry. It's like I was saying to Boomer, in the backdrop, I was talking about that meme. And I've seen it changed for all the different intersectional groups, whether it's the fourth wave feminists or the Palestinians or whomever, and they're shoveling crap over a fence, and they're laughing about it. They think it's so funny. Suddenly it starts coming back at them, and they're going, oh, you're genociding me.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is. This particular person is playing the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Yet she was the one doing the harassing. Because I'm sorry, whatever you want to think, whatever about Smash JT or whatever, that she had a beef with him, his wife has nothing to do with this.
Exactly. And then she is so freaking psychotic that she's like, well, go ahead. You can reach out to my significant other or my mother or my whatever. I don't care.
Family members.
And she is friggin' nuts. She absolutely is.
So, in the digital age, the lines between personal and public life are increasingly blurred. This is a Smash JT. I kept wanting to call him Smash TV because that's the game. I love that game. That's it was like almost a redo of Robotron 20. Remember Robotron, the old arcade game? It was done in that style. I think it was by Midway also. But in the digital age, the lines between personal and public life are increasingly blurred. But nothing, and I mean nothing, could have prepared me for this. The power of social media and online platforms can amplify voices, but also expose individuals to unforeseen dangers and hostility. My recent experience is a sobering reminder of how quickly situations can escalate online, with crazed lunatics affecting not just the individuals directly involved, but their families as well. I'm a dedicated husband and father, deeply committed of the well-being of my wife and children. They are my world. Today, my son turned 11. And I consciously keep them out of the spotlight to protect their privacy.
Right.
This decision stems from an understanding that my public activities, especially those related to my work with interest in video games, should not impact their lives. Recently, my involvement in a Change.org petition aimed at addressing issues with the prominent gaming outlet Kotaku took a distressing turn. The response from Melissa Mercante, a senior editor at Kotaku, was pretty unexpected even for her, and deeply concerning. She began her day by DMing me on Twitter below, trying to get a rise out of me, which I ignored. Her type twists words, as she has proven time and time again, and I wasn't taking the bait. Because she wasn't getting the fight she was looking for, she then decided to search out and locate my wife on social media and messaged her directly, attempting to discredit my character. Her mention of a man who threatened to execute her in VR was news to me. I was unaware of their history between each other, but let her kindly know that since she informed me about it and how it was hurtful to her, I would delete my retweet below, but that wasn't enough. So here, let's go through this steadily.
Yeah.
So the guy he retweeted, I think he did something about ending Kotaku or something, or maybe that was involved, and he didn't realize that he had a personal spat. Maybe he said some things to her that even you shouldn't say to even someone like Liz.
But even what was just described.
But he got rid of the retweet
Okay,
no, wait a minute.
I'll take it down.
Before you get that far, back up. What she's pissed about is that he retweeted something from another guy she had a beef with. What was the beef she had with him? He threatened to, in quotes, end her in VR.
Yes.
He threatened to kill her avatar in a game.
That makes sense. It probably wasn't a serious threat. Yeah, okay.
It was, as soon as you start behaving like this bullshit game stuff is real, you're effed in the head, girl. You think that's just like she is claiming he, in her note, in the note that she sent to this guy's wife, that talking about, threatening me and this and that. And she takes this end Kotaku as a personal threat on her life. That is not, no sane person could make that leap. And Kotaku, a company, is not a threat on you, stupid pierced girl, and your life.
Yeah.
If he had meant that, he would have said that. And Kotaku means I hate your company and it needs to go away. By the way, I just dropped the link to that change.org. I highly recommend people go and sign that petition. It is doubling the number of signatures it has every day. Every day it meets its goal and then doubles that goal, and it's meeting it every single day because gamers are sick of these POS game so-called journalists ruining gaming.
Yes. I also wanted to make a point that if this was a serious death threat, you need to report that to the police.
Right. But she knows full well it's not. Okay, let's say that it was. She would rather live in fear and trembling and not report it. Why? So that she can use it for points online to get sympathy. But obviously that's not the case. She knows that the police would look at this and go, he threatened your character in a video game? What do you want us to do about it? We don't have avatars in your video game.
She's more of a harpy. Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, wanted to say hi to Mr. Matchstick. Amen to everything you just said. I agree with you, Sashi. She didn't learn crap because all these other things that I'm saying. She hasn't learned anything. What she's learned is you mess with the bull, you get the horns, and then you're going to cry about it.
Jordan Peterson often talks about the narcissist, right?
Yup.
They describe her as
absolutely it does. Yeah. Well, we have a whole friggin' generation of these fucking narcissists. Yeah. They think who the hell they are. They think the world owes them a living. Literally owes them a living. They want to make money for doing nothing.
Yeah.
They don't produce anything. They only destroy, but give me money. And then feel sorry for me when things don't work out for me.
They have been operating for 10 years since the whole...
This is the everybody gets a trophy generation.
For full transparency and giving you the whole story, that thing that Kotaku journalists don't do, the end Kotaku researcher and do with the portion DM, which my official was below. After making my end of Kotaku change.org petition video yesterday, I was a retweet a lot of folks, and this one didn't particularly stand out to me as anything bad, but holy shit, did she ever lose her mind over it. This wasn't enough for her, though. She had to contact my wife and let her know.
Yeah.
The rest of her DM to my wife continues below. Her actions crossed a personal boundary that I believe should never be breached in disputes on social media disagreements. Honestly, an action like this screams mentally unstable and should seek professional help ASAP. But that's not for me to determine. The fact that she's still employed at Kotaku for how she's handled herself speaks volumes for the type of organization they are. Yes, it does. Alyssa's decision to involve my family in this matter has me both upset and scared. The internet, for all its benefits, can be a playground for overreach and harassment. The situation escalated to the point where Alyssa sent a lengthy and inappropriate message to my wife, which was not only out of bounds, but also suggested a distressing lack of professional decorum.
The repercussions of Alyssa Mercanti's actions extend far beyond simple professional discord. They venture into the realm of personal devastation. What if my wife and I were experiencing tensions in our relationship? Her DM could have been catastrophic. The notion that a professional, and I use the term very loosely for Alyssa, dispute could spill over into personal attacks that might destabilize a family is deeply alarming.
And the fact is, I mean, he's not wrong. If they were going through, let's say they were going through a divorce, you better believe that the wife would bring this up in court.
Yeah.
And say, you know, he's
antagonizing women, you know.
He's antagonizing people online. It's getting personal. I fear for the safety of our children.
Yep.
So I don't think he should have custody of the children.
Yep, that would happen. I'm sure him and his wife have a good relationship, but if they did,
it sounds like that's exactly the case, you know. And guys, you know, as a side note, this is why I say, keep your relationships in order. Stay strong with your friends, your relatives, your significant others, because we need to stand together. You know, just like Deleted Scenes is always saying, together we win. You know, that's just a variation on together we stand, divided we fall. And this is why I keep saying, and I've dropped it twice, I'll drop it the third time. Sign that petition. I know it doesn't do anything tangible, but it sends a message. It gets it out there. It gets in front of people that are in the gaming community, and it sends a message to Kotaku. We're done with you. Your audience hates you. You are going out of business.
I've been done with Kotaku for the better part of a decade. But yeah, I everyone needs to wake up. I think the only thing that's going to stop this is, frankly, people need to stop trafficking that site. Period.
Yeah.
Stop it. Just stop going there. There are other news outlets. People get their news on YouTube half the time these days for gaming.
Yeah.
There are plenty of good gaming YouTubers that don't even get that they don't really get political. Like
right. They're just reviewing the games.
Yes.
Look. There's a game company you like, follow them on social media so you see their announcements. Yeah. And then go to YouTube to your favorite gaming YouTubers to see their thoughts and comments, and maybe they have some behind-the-scenes information that they got. And then when the game comes out, those are the guys that will be doing the playthroughs and the reviews. You don't need Kotaku.
Let's do the next story real quick because it's getting late. But let's go. Put the one. Oh wait, I have to do that.
Which one is this?
Magic the Gathering. You didn't get this one. This is about the game, the gaming program.
Oh, here we go.
Wow, he doubled down. You don't double down. You stay away from the situation, especially when you're trying to sell an indie title, which you've been taking too long to make anyway.
Right.
I've never heard of this guy before I heard of this today too. Maybe there's a reason for that. This is from That Park Place. But yeah, you can read the rest of his blog there. But check this out. This is Magic the Gathering, and Warhammer artist Paul Scott Cannon says he wants to track down and string up loved ones of people he disagrees with. This is
related to that. Yeah.
Yeah. There he is. So that's not a satanic mass going on in the background, is it? Anyway, okay.
I mean, it kind of looks like that, to be honest with you. So this guy is clearly a simp. Clearly, you know, just like when Frost went off on everybody, and you had the guy in the booth doing the clap like a seal.
Clap,
yeah, you know, he's doing the same thing. Is what he's basically doing here. But this takes it even further. Talking about tracking people down and stringing up their loved ones. That's freaking unhinged, and that's the kind of stuff that will send this son of a bitch to jail.
Magic the Gathering and Warhammer artist Paul Scott Caravan, another Warhammer affiliate.
And keep in mind, just like I was saying about this other bitch, right? You open up that door, it goes both ways. Yeah. So I hope you're prepared for some crazy crackpot, you know, that may feel the same way on the other side. Now you're opening it up for your own loved ones.
This is why you don't want to open this door.
Exactly.
Because you don't.
Or yourself. If you don't give a shit about anyone else in your life, you don't care about yourself?
Yeah. Magic the Gathering Warhammer artist Paul Scott declared on social media that he wanted to track down and string up the loved ones that people disagrees with. Canavan woke on X. This is absolutely the play. We should be doing this with all these weird creeps. Track down their significant others and mothers and string them up. His comment came in response to a post from Kotaku senior editor Alyssa Mercanti, which detailed that she had tracked down the wife of YouTuber Smash JT and sent her a message on Facebook asking what she thinks about the father of her children harassing women online. Okay,
there is no defense for that. There's no defense for that.
The tweet, you can see the actual tweet itself in the prior article. Mercanti's umbrage with Smash JT appears that he started the petition to ban the shutdown of Kotaku and attempting to get rid of end of Kotaku trending. Well, it's been trending for a reason. As for Canavan, he doubled down on tracking down loved ones, stringing them up in response to one user who asked him if he would be okay if people track down his loved ones. That's a sensible response. Canavan said, I mean, if I turn into a total piece of shit, start harassing women online, then yeah, go nuts.
Yeah, guess what? Just making that statement, you already have.
You know, I'm sorry, you know, you are, even if you are a bad person, that doesn't mean your family members are bad people and they should be brought up in front of this. I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Would he double down what he claims his opinion that loved ones be tracked down and strung up was not controversial? YouTuber The Umbrella Guy asked, fascinating, is this a company stance string up moms to significant others kind of enterprise? I think you may have misunderstood. The conversation was about holding people accountable for their attacks on the internet. I don't think it's a super controversial take.
Track down and string them up means what it says. Wow. String them up. That is not hyperbole. That's not something you can do on the internet.
No. Former World of Warcraft Mark Kern would then share Canavan's posts, writing creative director Paul Scott Canavan for Grimoire, and indie developer making Pale Tides defends Kotaku's attack on fan members of critics, track down the significant others and mothers, and string them up.
Yeah.
The Umbrella got called him out and doubles down, saying it's just about holding people accountable. I guess there's anything goes if you have the right politics, he concluded. So that's about all I'm going to spend on this. And be careful online, folks. These people are knucking futs, as
you like that one.
But and don't harass them. Of course, asking pointed questions like we saw is fair enough. I'm sorry.
This piece of shit is a modern Maoist Marxist piece of trash. Same mentality. They think because they are on the right side of history as they see it, everyone else deserves to die.
This is insane.
And I don't say that lightly. I mean it literally.
Well, they're literally saying that. That's the problem.
Yes.
That's how they feel. They haven't retracted these statements, said, you know what, that went too far. I'm sorry. None of them have said this.
Look up Mao's Great Step Forward and his Great Society and how that came into existence. And it started on the university campuses, and everyone they didn't like, that didn't agree with them, was pilloried, beaten, and killed. And this is what they're calling for now.
Oh, by the way, he said he phrased it poorly. That was a later response.
You think? No shit, Sherlock.
Anyway. Oh, the local hobby store doesn't allow 3D printing. Interesting. I mean, you can't bring a 3D printed game piece? That's interesting.
Wait, what was that? I missed that.
Mr. Mastic says this down here.
I don't have the option to 3D print my local hobby store. Doesn't. Oh yeah, you should really look into getting your own 3D printer. Yeah. This is the freedom to create your own stuff. Cheaper. Yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to spend too much time because I got to start breezing through these. But Todd, but this is it. Careful out there. As you say, you've seen the petition, and just be careful because some of these people they want you to remain silent, and I'm not telling you to remain silent. But
speaking of 3D printing, by the way.
Todd Howard says the Fallout 3 show was so fanatical about detail. We were sharing the files right from the games, and they were 3D printing things. So I guess this is kind of positive. So what you like about Bethesda, and I will, but it's a studio with that's great at detail. Both Tamriel and the Wasteland overflow with goo-gaws and knickknacks that add life and color to their respective worlds, alongside all the obligatory skeletons on toilets. Imagine then.
Yeah.
How detailed the sets of Fallout show had to be to surprise Todd Howard himself. In a chat with Kinda Funny, Howard said that the experience of visiting the Amazon's Fallout was surreal, noting that he thought there would be more movie magic, like they're going to fake a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is going to be CG, but before coming face to face with the show's vaults, you step in and they build a 2-story vault, and the lights, they're not fake lights. It's an incredible attention to detail. Howard told Wireless production company Howard Cummings was meticulous about translating every little thing to the point that Bethesda was sharing files from the games, and they were 3D printing things. Set designers even had to apologize when they couldn't replicate the scale of a hallway 1-to-1 from the games. So apparently this actually did have a lot of attention to detail.
This is what I was talking about as I was, I didn't do any like reviews or anything like Deleted Scenes is doing, but in my various streams when I would just mention how much I was enjoying it, I full disclosure, I've never played the game, so I don't know firsthand, but everything I'm hearing from people, and every day I'm seeing more and more videos talking about the lore, pointing out Easter eggs and this and that. They're not even Easter eggs. I think I mentioned this before. They're not even Easter eggs. They are faithful interpretations of what was in the game with all these incredible details. And
it's like in the old days when Peter Jackson would do a tour of Bilbo's house, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The detail in the set for that movie.
Yeah. And when you see like they just said, they were apologetic that they couldn't get the right scale. They did the best they could. Oh my gosh, how refreshing is that? The fans are going to be more than willing to forgive. Oh, okay, well, I was going to nitpick that the hall wasn't exactly the right size, but they knew it and they did their best. They tried. Instead of, this is our interpretation of the hallway. You take it way too seriously. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
But why do that when you can have infinity stones as paperweights?
Exactly.
Which was basically
or you throw the lightsaber over your shoulder, This is incredibly refreshing, and it is making me want to start looking into these games now. I am now getting interested.
Fallout 3 might be readily available. I don't know if the first two are because they were older, but Fallout 3, a lot of people started with that one. So,
let's be honest, though. The way I am with games, I'll probably just look for, playthroughs and stuff on YouTube.
I'm sure it'll be on a Steam sale, though. I'll say this about the Fallout games. They have, the music, you get to tune into radio channels, and they have like a lot of old 30s and 40s songs playing on the radio channels while you're hunting.
I'll tell you, that's one of the things I loved about the soundtrack from this show. Yeah. Some really, really great
it's in the
ones.
Games, too, yeah.
It was just brilliant.
Right. New Vegas was came after Fallout 3. Yeah, New Vegas people.
And a little minor spoiler for the end of the show. It looks like they're setting up New Vegas as the setting for season 2. Yeah, actually, I mean it's absolutely, because we now know there's going to be a second season. That's absolutely what's happening. Episode 5 was slow, and I haven't seen the final episode. I'll be doing that Wednesday night, but it's surprisingly solid. Yeah, I would say even though episode 5 is slow, it almost needs to be. It really is. If they had rushed it, you would have felt rushed. Better to go slow and get it all in than rush it. Because let's face it, there's a lot of rewatchability here because there's a lot of details I missed. Mm-hmm. It's dense. It is good viewing. It is kind of like what I said about Twin Peaks, right? 2 seasons, and we've been watching it for over 20 years, over and over and over again, and still getting enjoyment and seeing new stuff in it. I think you can do the same thing with this Fallout. It's really, really good. The details are there, and they're not throwaway details. You see stuff in the background, and it tells you additional story. And it's not just, oh, this would be cool. It's, no, that is part of the story.
Yes. All right. So, good stuff. Let's move on to... no, Hollywood Reporter finally admits...
This is the 3rd week we're talking on basically this topic, but it's a follow-up.
I'm telling you, he's been making the rounds. Okay. John Nolte. The only thing the far-left Hollywood Reporter reached out to me, I was nearly 10 years ago. It was that after I'd argued that Seth Rogen's divisive political ranting had damaged the box office of the highly anticipated biopic Steve Jobs, which flopped. THR basically called me on the carpet to explain myself to defend the common sense belief that divisive celebrities damage their box office appeal. Thankfully, I was interviewed by the only good guy over there, Paul Bond, who has since moved on to Newsweek, so the Q&A was reported accurately. But the premise of the interview was obvious. Explain yourself, Nolte. So I did, and did so using facts, logic, and THR's own reportings. I also brazenly predicted Quentin Tarantino's grotesque patronizing of the black community by trashing cops would hurt the Hateful Eight's box office appeal. The movie then flopped. Yeah, I remember that. Of course, it also opened next to The Force Awakens, so that probably didn't help either. But
true.
Needless to say, THR has ignored me ever since. I don't mean to brag, but as someone who winces a whole lot more often than not at his past work, the interview is something I'm proud of. Oh, and if you notice, Seth Rogen isn't making headlines with his political incense anymore, nor is Tarantino. But my point is that THR was so bubbled and corrupted that I was publicly challenged to explain the common sense idea that the spokesperson for your product, be it Ronald McDonald, Captain Crunch, or a movie star, offends half the customers or hurt the bottom line, like a guy making an indie game and the people that work for him. But anyway, what do I know?
Yeah.
THR refused to admit such a thing was true because to admit it would hurt the leftist cause. Dumb stars and celebrities could no longer be fooled to believing it was good PR to trash half the country. What's more, THR has never, as far as I've seen, suggested that if a star becomes politically divisive, it will damage their appeal, which of course is ridiculous. Of course it damages the bottom line. Well, guess what? It finally happened. At the long last, THR has admitted that divisive political statements can hurt a star's appeal. But of course, there's a caveat. Man, this is beautiful. I'm deliberately removing anything that identifies who or what THR is discussing. This is the quote. It should be noted, too, that this big famous star's recent stances on divisive political issues will make it difficult for even some longtime fans to hardly embrace them anymore. But for those willing to put aside reality for 90 minutes, as this movie does with gusto, the movie whips up a frothy send-up of storytelling tropes and cliches. I have a suspicion this is the Reacher star that they're talking about. I could be wrong, though. Same people could plug dozens and dozens of names into that paragraph. All of them leftist stars and celebrities whose recent stances on divisive political issues will make it difficult for even some longtime fans to hardly embrace them anymore. THR could have written that paragraph 100 times over the years, but as far as I've seen, never has. The reason is obvious. For the sake of furthering the leftist cause, the truth has never been spoken within the bubble that the Hollywood Reporter so zealously protects. So why is the Hollywood Reporter telling the truth this time about this person? Has the Hollywood Reporter seen the light about Rob Reiner, Meryl Streep, Stephen King, Alec Baldwin? Nope. It's Jerry Seinfeld. You see, it's okay for the entertainment media to admit that speaking out in politics will damage a star if the star in question is guilty of speaking a truth that damages the leftist cause, which Seinfeld did. Such wretched people. But at least, even if it's 10 years later, THR has admitted I was right. Oh, so they were referring to Jerry Seinfeld's new movie about the Pop-Tarts.
Yep.
That you shouldn't be talking about politics.
Yeah. Again, it's disingenuous hypocrisy. We don't agree with you, so you shouldn't do it. Oh, we agree with you. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. And there you have it.
Yep. But I am glad to see, and it's going to be the comedians. It's always been the comedians who speak out and say, look, this is what comedy is. You know? Look, I am under no illusion that I probably have very little in common with Jerry Seinfeld when it comes to politics. Doesn't matter, right? Because now this was predicted by Jordan Peterson a long time ago. They start going after their own. As the whole concept behind intersectionality is you keep dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing until it's just every man for himself. It's all just individuals.
Here we go. Kevin Spacey to stand trial again in UK over sexual assault case.
And I'm just going to say this. We are in an era again where you are acquitted on criminal charges. So well, we're still sure that you're guilty of something, so we're gonna sue you in civil court and award money to people. Yeah. People that can't prove you did anything to them. We're just going to give them money because you're rich and they're poor, and we feel sorry for them, and we believe them and not you because you're rich and they're poor.
Yeah. Kevin Spacey will be returning to a UK court early next year to stand trial, with the news coming a day after a Channel 4 Max documentary airing new allegations about the two-time Oscar winner. Spacey will face a civil trial in the UK after being sued by a man who alleges he sexually assaulted him, according to Variety. The trial will take place early next year. The man, who has been granted anonymity by the court, claims he suffered psychiatric damage and other financial loss as a result of the alleged sexual assault. Spacey's legal team was in court today responding to a judgment in favor of Spacey's accuser after it failed to file his defense in time. Spacey was not present, according to Reuters. Adam Specker, a lawyer representing Spacey, said it was a genuine error by the actor's legal team from prominent British law firm Carter Ruck. Specker argued it would be unfair for the claimant to effectively win this lawsuit against Spacey without a trial when he had been disbelieved on oath by a jury, and the case will therefore proceed to trial. So someone over there in the thing messed up. That's why this is going through. Spacey told Deadline, "This is not a new lawsuit. It has been widely reported. It's the same lawsuit brought by 2022 by a complainant that was not believed by a jury of my peers in the 2023 UK trial, in which I was acquitted." So he's going on trial again, I guess.
Yeah.
When does it end?
It doesn't. As long as we allow this to keep happening, there needs to be some civil law reform, both in the United States and the UK. Yeah. We have got to start saying, look, he was found not guilty. Unless you can bring some evidence that might reopen this criminal case, you don't have a case. Yeah. Unless we start doing that, this is a big problem with our legal system. And again, I will keep defending people that everyone is sure is guilty. And again, we're not talking about good people. I am not saying these are good and virtuous people. They may very well be guilty of the things they are accused of. But I'm sorry. Until you can prove it, they are not guilty. Mm-hmm. He didn't do it. And I'm talking about Kevin Spacey. I'm talking about O.J. Simpson. I'm talking about Michael Jackson. I'm talking about Harvey Weinstein. Prove it or it didn't happen. Receipts, pictures, or it didn't happen. And don't wait 20 years and then say, hey, he touched me. Well, yeah. But apparently, that's how you get, Trump, right? He slept with me. No, he didn't sleep with me. I thought I slept with him. No, wait a minute. He went bareback and he wasn't supposed to. No, we didn't have sex. He drugged me. No, he didn't drug me. I just felt like I was drugged.
Well, we had the whole Kavanaugh hearing too. That was another big thing.
Yeah.
Which I believe a bunch of people broke into the places you're not supposed to break into.
Yeah. Apparently, but that's not an insurrection.
Anyway, this wraps up our stream for tonight.
Spit it out.
Kind of a sorry state of affairs this week. It's like I'm trying to remain positive. Yeah, you got the NES World Championships that me and 5 other people care about. Well, no, I'm sure there are plenty of people.
Is it any surprise that we go back to the good old days and talk about the Battle of the Network Stars? Yeah. This is
Oh, whoa! Well, this will be a story you have to tell us about someday. Yikes! Okay. Wow. I know she was a spouse.
I would love to hear about that deleted scenes. Maybe it's something to talk about on the other side of midnight, which is coming up in about 36 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, deleted scenes being the generous person that he is taking pity on a little non-monetized channel, last call, and inviting me on as a co-host again this week. So I hope you get over to his channel. I just dropped the link so we can, Other Side of Midnight, number 51. Next week we'll have a whole deck of cards.
There you go. And there'll be a Joker in the deck, right?
If he has me on again next week, I'll be the Joker in the deck.
Anyway, but tomorrow night you're having a special single movie tomorrow, but it's a longer one, and it's an interesting title.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It's called Troy.
And then Tuesday will
or if you do speak ancient Roman, Ilium. Okay, there you go.
What time will that start?
So that'll start at 9:00, but it's going to be a later night. It is still going to go to almost like midnight because it is like a 3-hour movie, 2.5 hours, something like that. But we are getting started later. I am going to be simulcasting on Rumble, but I'm not going to be jumping from one to the other just because it's a single movie, and I am starting at 9:00 Central Time, 10 Eastern, because I got a dentist appointment. That's why. So
I got that in a 3-pack with Alexander. What the heck was it? Remember the Oliver Stone Alexander with the 5 different cuts or whatever?
Yeah.
And then there was for Jared Leto, that's right. And then 300 was the other movie, so I guess they were going for it.
I love the 300, yeah. Good
stuff.
But
let's see here, though. But Tuesday will be on Sparkwood and 21 with
7:30 Central.
Network.
Yep, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
Yep.
We're down to our last, not even a handful. I think we only got about three or so more episodes left in season 2. Then we have a bunch of other content, and then we will be going into the return, which is essentially season 3, which Deleted Scenes has not yet seen.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yes, it is.
No. Lip sealed. Don't say anything.
Exactly. Okay. We don't want any spoilers, which means we'll have to be very careful on Thursday when Netter's Thursday Things, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. We sit down with Obnoxious and Anonymous, another YouTuber who does predominantly Twin Peaks and David Lynch related topics. He has done a fan film that it's a little timey-wimey, so it kind of covers, the era of the original Twin Peaks as well as the Return and Fire Walk with Me. Fills in some of the gaps, but we have, because Deleted Scenes has not yet seen season 3, we've said hold off on watching that, but we will be talking about his upcoming Kickstart for another fan film, which will be a sequel to Twin Peaks Season 3, The Return, basically because we don't really think that there's going to be another one, But he's already gone on record saying, but, if there is, just kind of forget mine happened, and, it's an alternate universe, and, go with what's real canon, right?
Gotcha. So then Friday, we have
Bond. We have a topic that this jamoke has been after me to do for some time now. It was Aged Boomer who was after me to do a James Bond retrospective, and I said we can't do this without the subject matter expert on YouTube, and that is of course Michael French of Retroblasting. He will be joining us on Friday to kind of reminisce about James Bond, where he's come from the original novels up through all the movies, maybe even talk about some of the games. Michael has out a video right now. He just dropped it last week, talking about a Lego Aston Martin for James Bond that he did. It's basically a custom thing. Really good video. We'll talk more about. Yep, we'll talk more about that on Friday as well. And so that's Friday, 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Last Call.
I wish I could talk to Ian Fleming and said,
What did you mean by living daylights? He says, I just took a couple of words and jumbled them together.
He would probably say something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe there is an actual meaning. Maybe it's a spy talk about something. Yeah. I don't know. But, yeah, so that'll be exciting. Talk about some James Bond on Friday. That'll be cool.
Then the Saturday movie over on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. We will be watching the Ralph Bakshi cult classic, I think we'd call it, Fire and Ice.
Yes, Fire and Ice. That'll be an interesting one. That's
It is an animated film, but maybe not for the little
children.
ones.
It's not for children.
Yeah. This is I don't know, PG-13 these days, I think I'd call it.
I remember the early Streamline anime feature releases over here in North America during the 90s, and the tapes would come out, and you have like Vampire Hunter D and Wicked City, and there'd be a little sticker on them, and it would say "not for kids," and there'd be a sad boy and it was like the Ghostbusters, the red thing with the red circle with the line through it. And you see like this sad boy in the background, and I'm like, it's just like you show this to your kid and he's gonna get scarred, so don't. It's like
right.
All right, and that'll lead us to next Sunday, which will be Deleted Scenes Western Cinema. Then Unscripted, the official pre-show of Geeky Geezers. And
did you forget the name of your own show?
And next week we'll be talking about the hacking of the Sweet Baby Inc. Discord, not Sweet Baby Inc. The Sweet Baby Inc. The one made by the dude in Brazil. It got hacked badly.
Wow.
That's the other big thing that happened today. I'll be talking about it next week. Cabrutus, that's right.
Cabrutus,
He was away for like a day because he was on a trip, and then he came back and like they had hacked in. He had other people in there. People were getting kicked. It's a bit of a disaster. A lot of work undone over the last couple of months. We'll talk about that next week. Don't say the other side isn't vindictive. They are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about that next week.
Yep.
And also a retrospective on Roger Corman. He's owed it, I think. So we'll talk about that next week. All right. Y'all have a good week. Check out the Deleted Scenes channel. All right.
Take care.
Other Side of Midnight. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.